All right, everybody, welcome to the One Up Yours show for Friday, December the 21st. This is Garnet Lee, and as promised, joining Shane and I here in the fabulous fifth floor studio, Mr. Jeff Cannata.
Hey, it's great to be here. Seriously, honestly, this is like a thrill.
Jeff has a radio voice.
He does.
That's right.
I feel
Acting voice.
Yeah.
Well,
Trained actor.
I feel inadequate next to a radio voice.
Well, and both of us are failing because we're both fighting colds, and as you can hear, I've got like all kinds of
We're
crap.
fighting it with this elixir here.
That is actually an excellent elixir. For those who don't know, bourbon does make a fantastic chest cold remedy, and this is also now the official.
Wait. This is a big debut. We're excited about Jeff, but we're even maybe more excited about the official One Up Network podcast debut of Big Fun himself, David Ellis.
Yeah.
What
That's
up,
a
guys?
thunderous applause.
That's pretty much it.
Big funds.
Big Fun's big break.
I do the big funds. You do the big
missed.
funds.
Big break.
There you go.
Throw some echo on it. Prince. Done.
Like David Ellis, what's your
I will. I'll dial the reverb up a little bit and give you that that stage thing.
what's your title?
Intern.
He's an intern, but for an intern, he's made quite a splash onto the scene. His first big preview was a highly controversial Orange Box PS3 preview. Got a lot of press.
It did.
A lot of controversy.
A lot of phone calls.
Followed that up with a equally controversial video comparison of what was that? The Team Fortress or something?
It was Half-Life 2
Half-Life
and
2.
Portal.
So everything you've done has been a big splash, and the meteoric rise to the forefront of the video game industry starts right now.
Wow.
So
Well, it's
watch out.
The rise. I think I'm at the pinnacle right now.
Loose cannon, Maverick. No one knows what he's going to say.
So now it's all downhill from here. That's fucking scary. It could get worse. It could
It's
be
a
worse.
short fall.
It could be worse.
All right.
And we kind of upstaged Jeff.
Yeah, sorry, but
No, that's cool.
My apologies.
I
mean, you've already
basking
made
in your
your-
glory myself.
Yeah, you have.
you're already
built-in
up
fan
there.
base.
Yeah, well, I like to think so. But honestly, it is a thrill for me to be here with you guys because I've been listening to the show for years, literally. And in fact, I don't know if you guys know this, but my show, the Totally Rad Show, we do every episode we start with a recreation of a scene from a movie or a video game or something like that. And usually we kind of do it
A little bit of repertory theater.
It's
almost.
really cool.
It's repertory, yes, in that it repeats. We kind of do it cinematic. We kind of use music, and it's sort of to get people on the same page of like, hey, we're going to throw out a lot of references. Our show's kind of it's totally rad. We kind of we're being snarky and throwing out references. And I say all that to tell you that the very first episode, because I thought it would be so cool to throw out that reference, we used the music from the One Up from One Up Yours.
Wow.
I'm actually not going to lie. I remember that.
Well, it turns out a lot of people were very upset with us about that. You guys have some very loyal.
It's so
It was
funny.
as if we violated you in some way.
Oh, no way, no way.
Were you mocking us?
None at all. We just used the music. It's it's public domain music, right?
Bad news. It's right there in GarageBand.
GarageBand, right?
It's nothing special.
And we hate mail. It was our first episode, and it was like, "How dare you steal One Up Yours music? What do you
Yeah.
think you're doing?" And it was like a hey bros shout out kind of thing.
Weren't you guys
All right.
playing Guitar Hero?
We did. I think our first episode was Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh,
and
okay.
We did
For Atari 2600?
No, it was a scene from Raiders of the Lost
Oh.
Ark, and we did Pass Me the Idol, Throw Me the Whip, and we did American Idol DVD, Cool Whip, because that's funny.
No, that is
Switching it
funny.
up.
Definitely.
Then what did you do with those two things?
We recreate the scene every.
okay.
We actually do the scene, but
Sounded
we
kind
kind
of sexual to me.
It's like we did try to get the audience
Of
to
course.
guess what the. Well, it's always sexual.
Of course.
I mean,
All right, David. Let's return the favor. Let's make Jeff feel right at home. There you go.
Wait.
Insert explosion.
Insert explosion right there. Boom.
we just fist pumped, and
There you go.
the whole studio exploded.
It exploded. Meltdown right there on the waveform. All right, so now you know who's on the show today. We're going to be doing like we've been doing throughout the whole holiday season. Just pretty straightforward stuff. We're going to talk about some games. Surprise, imagine that. We understand Jeff has some controversial opinions on some of our favorite titles.
Whoa.
I do.
So we'll let him dream about having intelligent conversations that could have passed with real game journalists, and then we'll kind of jump in there and make a mockery
Well,
out of it.
anything's a step up from the two yokels I usually hang out with.
Who's playing Alex's How high can your voice go, Shane?
Well, it's whoever gets the drunkest.
I've got a
plays
pretty
the
good
Alex
falsetto.
role.
Oh, okay, well
I'm
that's good.
sick, but I have
none of our hair is tall enough.
I have an
Yeah.
excellent falsetto. What note do you need?
Well, I don't know. Let's get pretty high.
Does he sound like Michael Jackson?
No, he just when he gets
He
excited.
gets really
It's
excited.
Alex when he gets excited. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
it
Yeah.
is.
You really,
Alright.
you should start off with the Assassin's Creed review from 5 episodes ago.
Yeah, something like that.
Dude, it's fantastic. It's
All right.
And
You would love his review of Galaxy because
Yes.
he hated it in every way. So,
I would love that. I'd love that review.
I mean, it's exactly what you think about.
and David,
right?
you're a D, so you can be Dan. So now we're in business, and I'll just be.
Sure, I just have to meander without making a point from minutes on in. Just
I love
kidding,
it.
Dan.
I love
Just
it. The
kidding.
guys, I'm sure, are listening to this and going, "Jeff's a douchebag." But yeah, what
You're
is it?
selling out your boys.
I am,
That's what
I
you're
am.
doing.
No, I
No, they're already saying, God, that's all he did. Fuck, when I go on that show, I'm going to lay him out. All right, so anyway, that's what we're going to do. We're also going to take like our first look back at 2007 before we go to break because I thought it'd be cool to have Jeff's opinion on 2007 game stuff. Shane, you're not going to be here next week, so your chance to chime in on some of that stuff before we hit 08 when we're going to start talking about new stuff. And then David, when we come back, has done message board duty. So we have a community segment that pretty amazingly enough, I know people were like taking the crap out of me because, well, why don't you do the community? Well, I don't know, because there's like 24 hours in a day and I want to sleep in 4 of them.
Well, I think you look at the community and you see the really good thread and you get really pissed off. And
The really good thread.
Close
So what thread would that be?
yeah, we didn't actually like when you're talking about how awesome it was. We didn't really say what it was last week, but people know. People know.
It's the thread of photoshopping of a dreadful picture of me.
Dreadful.
Dreadful.
Dreadfully awesome.
Dreadful. But, maybe I should hold Jenny Sue accountable for that picture.
You should.
It did occur in her residence.
It did.
So, and I was, if you're accountable for people who leave your home drunk when they drive, you're certainly accountable for things they might do that's stupid while they've been drinking at your house.
Wait, so you're going to hold her accountable for having an awesome party?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, that picture is pretty much just as destructive as if you were drinking and driving, right? It's pretty much, it causes as much havoc.
It has-
Dude, just own the picture.
Own the picture.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite?
Do I have a favorite? You know what?
Did you
No,
see the
I
Harry-
said like I said last week, none of them really, honestly,
You
none of them
didn't. You
impressed
didn't
me.
think the Back to the Future one or the Harry Potter.
Okay, the Harry Potter one was good. The Harry Potter, I think, would so far be number 1.
My favorite, and it's not based on technical, it's just because it's funny. I'm not going to say who it is or who's in it.
Is it the one you made?
No, that one's pretty awesome. But let's just say it involves Garnet asking or telling someone that her hair smells like cinnamon.
Oh yeah,
And it's pretty rad.
that one's pretty good.
All right. Well, so and Shane, you haven't been so happy with yours, so don't.
What do you mean?
You mean Shane Bettenhausen?
Nah, that thread not so good.
Why not?
Not as good as yours. Yours is
Oh.
much funnier.
What happened to own it? See, it's easy to say own it when it's not yours.
Right.
But then
You don't want
so
to
it
own your
comes the other
Nazi,
direction,
your
he's like,
roots?
I totally own any photographs of me on the net. I'm okay with
Any photographs.
any photoshops. I'm not, but the original photographs I'm not embarrassed by.
Well, there's the difference, folks. So anyway, and then I have
Sounds
news
like
after
a
that.
challenge.
It does. Well, I'm always in those pictures. Just happens. That's fine. Whatever. Anyway, we have news after that. We have plenty of interesting stuff. So we might as well get this thing rolling. David, I'm going to let you start with what you've been playing because some of yours are some of the ones I'm going to talk about too. So take it away.
Well, the first one I'm going to start out with, it's a game we just got today. It's a PSN downloadable game that's coming pretty soon. It's called Pixel Junk Monsters.
I walked by and I was like, "What are you playing?"
Well, I think In-Guy Kroll from Newsweek, he's, I believe, written something about it. He seems to be a big fan of it. It's sort of like a strategy game for people who don't like strategy games or don't understand them. It's a very simple game. You play as this Aborigine type character. You have these flock of either children or animals. You can't really tell.
Flock of children.
No one really knows. They say
Nice.
they use the term flock, but they look like children, so I don't know where to go with that.
All right.
And basically, you have these trees, and you have a designated path between one side of the screen to the little hut where all the kids/flock are standing, and you basically have to set up towers with. I see Garnet's nodding off already.
Wait, you like RTSs, Garnet?
Here's the thing. Anytime a conversation about a game starts off with, it's a X for people who don't like X, I immediately say, oh, good night, goodbye. Why do you ever make a game like that for somebody who doesn't like I don't get it.
He hasn't said it.
I don't like those games. I like this game.
Oh.
Wow.
In fact, Damien Lin from Game
Then
It
why
Is.
qualify it like that? Maybe it's just a strategy game.
Well, any game that has junk right in the title is already a winner for me.
Well, the reason I was knocking the game is
and all kinds of marketing opportunity. Get your hands on this junk.
Yeah.
Well, their previous title was a game called Pixel Junk Racers, which was a slot racing game.
It was junk.
It absolutely was. So I've been making fun of this game for like 2 weeks, and we finally got it in our hands. And after 5 minutes, I walked into Damien's office and said I was wrong. I actually like it.
Wow.
I've been playing it most of the afternoon. I mean, I haven't gotten far enough in it to get my final.
I'll say the graphics not so impressive. I walked by, and I thought you were playing like a highlights for children word search or something. Like it doesn't look like a game.
It's totally not the point, though. I mean, it's very much what's the PC game, Defense Force, where you have to try to set up walls to keep. It's basically the same thing. I can't remember the name out of the top of my head.
Is this like Rampart?
It's a bit like that.
I like Rampart.
So why is it good for people who don't like RTSs?
Well, it's very. You have individual levels, so you don't have an entire world you have to keep track of. You have basically one path between the enemies and your flock of whatevers, and you have to keep them alive.
Seagulls? Could I have a flock of seagulls?
It could be a flock of seagulls.
Awesome.
Their hair is not quite that awesome, but basically you're just trying to keep them alive, and every enemy that gets through this gauntlet of weaponry that you've set up kills one of these individuals, and you have 10 rounds of enemies that move through.
So it's a take on desktop tower defense.
No, that's the one I was actually talking about earlier. It's totally desktop tower defense.
You're excited. Now you're like,
fucking desktop tower defense is awesome.
And this game is awesome.
Really?
Yeah, well, so far. You never know. And the overworld is set up very much like Super Mario 3. You start out with a training level, and then you can move on to easy levels. And based on if you get through an entire level, all 10 rounds of a level, without having any of your flock die, you get a little rainbow of perfection.
Aww.
Yeah, it's very cute.
That's sweet.
This game is very saccharine. If you are a diabetic, bring the insulin, because it will put you in a coma.
Is there multiplayer?
There is 2-player. I haven't had a chance to try that at all, so I have no idea
What if
what
it has
it's like.
online? Probably not.
Well, it definitely has online scorekeeping
Right, but
leaderboards.
probably not online. Maybe online play.
I honestly don't know.
It comes out in January?
They didn't give us an exact date, but it's pretty far along. I'd be shocked if it wasn't coming out pretty soon.
Do you know the price yet?
I don't.
Because I'm concerned.
What are you, like, working for a buyer? What the hell?
But you know what?
Off
the top of my head, I would have no problem. Just basing on what I've played so far and seeing how many levels are in it, $10 wouldn't be out of the realm of.
Because I'm concerned about Sony's pricing after Pain. I think Pain is priced really, really incorrectly.
I agree.
And I actually like Pain.
It's just very limited.
But I think it's overly complicated. You get almost nothing for your money, and the fact that you have to buy the characters individually.
That's ridiculous.
Out of the game.
Yeah, 1/5 the price, or one.
And in fact, originally one of the characters broke the game.
Really?
They had to take it the first day it was out. If you bought one of the characters, your game would break and you wouldn't be able to play it anymore. And they had to take it off, fix it, and put it back up the next day.
That's okay. You got the Xbox Live Arcade guys yanking games off as soon as they put them up with Sensible World of Soccer. Oh, oops, it doesn't work. Sorry, guys.
Not only did it not work, it actually signed you out of Xbox Live and you couldn't sign back on.
Sorry, British people.
So what are the extended certification things for if stuff can go up and then be not workable?
That's a really damn good question.
We get stuff announced that has been around for 20 years, and then it takes 6 months for it to come out. What are they doing?
Well, what you have to do is pay enough money into the certification coffers to get the high side of the pass line. And
this is a complete digression, but remember like 2 weeks ago when Jeff Minter, the crazy hippie who makes Tempest 2000,
said he was done.
And he was so upset because his crappy game Space Giraffe got outsold by Frogger. Yeah. I found it funny that 2 weeks after that, Tempest came out for Xbox Live Arcade, and Tempest will probably outsell Space Giraffe.
Yeah.
Space Giraffe is freaking awesome, though.
If you're stoned and on mescaline.
Actually, if you play that game far enough, it will blow your mind without the use of.
Dude, I don't know. I tried. I couldn't do it. And I like Tempest.
What do you like about it? Because I got bored with it pretty quick. I was like, okay, I can go in and out. Yeah, all right, whatever.
It starts reinventing itself.
Really?
Yeah, I mean the way the level design it starts. You have to rethink how you are. If you're really into getting a high score, you have to start rethinking how, because the stages start turning into weird shapes, and you have to kind of plan your attacks, and it gets crazy.
People didn't stick with it long enough to actually see what it had to offer.
I think that's the case. I mean, you have to like that kind of thing, and I think that. The mistake in a lot of it is how much crap is going on in the background, and you can't focus.
Right.
But once you kind of break through that and figure out, how to focus on the important
stuff. Well, that's
stuff.
part of the Jeff Minter angle, right? I mean, the whole
is it like one of those
music
3D
and backgrounds?
Posters? It's like one of those 3D posters.
Yeah, you stare at it.
Have you checked it out? Have you ever checked out?
Yeah, no. The first day it was up on PartnerNet, I downloaded it and played it for like an hour or two, and
That's kind of everyone's story.
Yeah,
it does. I mean, I played it longer than an hour or two. I actually bought it and I had it, and I played it maybe like 3 or 4 nights. But I got to the point where I was frustrated with the backgrounds being so distracting, and I was never able to turn them off because once it started to get hard, I was losing stuff in the background, and I was like, you know what, screw this.
You know what? If that game had come out when instead of Geometry Wars, I think people would be talking about it in the same. I mean, I don't think it's equal to Geometry Wars. I'm saying that I think a lot of what Geometry Wars benefited from was I slept on this concrete and got my 360 and brought it home, and I didn't have dick to play except Geometry Wars.
Yeah, that was everybody's.
Right? And so it had benefited from that.
Right, it has nothing to do with the fact that it's a really good twin-stick shooter, that it's really colorful, it's easy to play but hard to master, it's got, a great scoreboard system. Nothing to do with that.
Well, I agree with all those points. I love the game. I'm just saying that I think that people played it. The idea of getting 1 million points, 6 million points in that game became a thing because that's all there was to do.
Well, it was also one of the first games that really the whole idea of online leaderboards really was a big part of. You could, gauge your own abilities against everyone else's, and of course be humbled because there's no way you can compete with those kids that play 8 hours a day.
Just someday you'll be able to compare the size of your trophies in home.
It's true, and hopefully not very soon.
I've already earned several. I have nowhere to display them.
I have several in Uncharted.
Yeah,
I'm sure you do too.
I do too. Yes, absolutely. All right, moving on. Back to what we were talking about originally, which is what Big Fun's been playing.
What else are you playing, Big Fun? You're playing GT5P.
I have been playing.
He and I both have been playing GT5P.
Yeah, we have a segment which you probably will have seen by the time you hear this on the One Up Show with myself and Ryan O'Donnell and Damian Lynn talking about it, and I'm not very impressed, to be honest with you. I mean, I've played GT games for a long time.
You're like less impressed with what you get in this package.
Well,
it is very limited.
Yeah,
it's more than a package problem.
Yeah, on the face of it, $40 for what basically amounts to a glorified demo. It's more than a demo, but far less than an actual game.
I've seen your criticism, but I think the people who are like, "Oh, no damage ruins Gran Turismo," well, it hasn't ruined the other 4 Gran Turismos.
No, it ruins Gran Turismo as compared to every other serious driving game out there that allows damage.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, you really think that the people who play Gran Turismo will play this one and be like, "Oh, after Forza, I can't play this anymore."
Well, sales on GT4 were a lot lower than GT3, and I can see that possibly be a trend that's going to continue.
I think
go ahead, face up.
I think sales on GT4 being less than GT3. I mean, GT3 was a bundle. GT3 was like a reason a lot of people bought PlayStation.
Which leads to an interesting point. Why is
wait?
I bought GT3 in a bundle. I bought a PlayStation 2 with GT3. And I'm not even a big fan of
right. Like the red box that had. I know about that.
That pushed.
You think a lot of people bought their GT3 that way?
Yes. I really do.
I don't have the facts in front of me, but I don't think so. I know that like back in the day, that was still when I was working at EB, and we had them fucking red boxes sitting on the shelf for forever. They would never go away.
Well, there was no GT4 bundle, so
no. But I mean, they also released a prologue before GT4, and possibly prologue may have muddied the waters on that, where people felt they had enough and didn't really want to play it.
See, I'm on the other side of this. Is that I'm a huge GT fan, and I could give I would pay $40 for a good prologue. My problem with this prologue is that it has some issues. That it has technical issues, and then it has. The way it's designed and set up is just not as fun. Well, so one thing I noticed is like Dave and I are like playing through this, and we're playing for hours with crap cars. It's not fun. It's not fun to be thrown into all these situations where you always have to drive the shitty car.
Well, and the fact is, in past GT games, you've been able to, you always have to start out buying a shitty car, but
you start modding it.
Exactly.
Well, there's no modding in this.
There's absolutely none, and that's core. It's core to what Gran Turismo is all about if you're a real gearhead, which is what this game is targeted at. It's who it's targeted at.
And so if you're not going to do that, then throw the door open to me to race competitively with higher end cars so I can start doing that. I mean, there's a whole, I get this deal of I'm going to drive a 90 horsepower car and master being able to hit these turns on the perfect line in the perfect way. That's cool.
But you know what? If I wanted to master a 90 horsepower car, I'd go out and buy one. I buy GT because I want the 600 horsepower behemoth that you can't drive on the road.
It's such a weird product because like you're kind of forced to evaluate a really expensive limited demo. It's like, why does it exist?
Well, it's definitely a prototype.
It exists so they can sell it. But
that's the bizarre thing. Yeah. It only exists in Japan, and there's plenty
and Europe.
And it's not out in Europe yet.
It's coming out though.
Yeah, it will be, but it may actually come out in the U.S. at the same time as Europe.
Let me disagree with you about that a little bit. I don't think it solely exists to be sold. I've sat there and talked to Yamauchi, and it was an honor, and it's really cool to see the enthusiasm in his eyes. It exists because he knows how long people have been waiting for Gran Turismo. He knows the disappointment of not having a PSP version. He knows that it's going to be a while before they finish this properly, and he wants to say, okay, you know what? Here's something to play.
Well, and GT4 online beta tested, but never even came out, right?
Right.
So this is the first online Gran Turismo ever.
But you can't play it online yet.
Yeah.
The online doesn't go live until December 25th.
Right.
Which, really, you need 2 more weeks to get it ready. You've been waiting for how many years?
Seeing what happened with Hot Shots Golf 5 in Japan, they probably do. You know what happened with that?
Possible.
You know what happened with that, right?
No, I'm not.
When that online went up, you had to go online and register for a tee time and come back later. You're like, oh, I'll come back at 8 p.m.
Like EVE Online.
Yeah.
My ship is harvesting.
Yeah.
I'll come back tomorrow.
And, coming back to the price, I understand how they came to this price. I mean, if you look at what other driving games charge for DLC for tracks and cars, and you add everything up, it adds up to $40 worth of content if you base it on DLC. But the fact is, if you compare it to its major competitor being, Forza 2, the online components of Forza 2, the customization of cars, not only on the interior but also the exterior, which was very popular not only in the US but Japan. Well, I don't see them allowing any of that in the final GT5.
It seems to me that the whole point of I'm not a GT fan. I'm not a realistic car fan. If it's not Burnout, I pretty much don't play the driving games. But it seems to me that historically these games have been all about showcasing the hardware, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like let's show you how
this
realistic
one is
we can make
too.
this.
I mean, no one's talked about cockpit view here. Cockpit view looks fucking insane.
I've talked about it.
It really does.
We talk about
like
it on the show.
Forza 2 versus cockpit view, and
Dude, how many times have I beat that drum? Seriously.
I haven't heard it recently.
Forza 2, it killed me that it didn't have cockpit view. It killed me that they didn't at least model the cockpits for some of the cars, because their argument was, well, it would have taken X number of man hours to do all those, and we devoted that time someplace else. The cockpit view in Gran Turismo is probably the best cockpit view ever, and it really is a great place to drive from. I'm all for that.
Yeah.
I'm not all for driving around the oval on Daytona and watching cars separate as the screen tears.
Ouch.
I mean,
Yeah, or
that's
shadow
ugly.
shadow pop in. You see cars in front of you, the shadows just magically appear. That's distracting, and it shouldn't exist.
But even more, the biggest concern I have out of this is that driving, especially in the low-end cars on some of the tracks where you're doing those time trials, and there's lots of cars on the track, and many of them are more powerful than you, it highlights that they have not done one of the key points that they talked about, which was improve the driving AI. The cars come from behind.
Bumper cars.
They're still on a line, and they drive right through you, and that just kills me. How is it still like that?
Do you think that this is representative of what GT4 will be?
5? No.
5?
Yeah, no. I hope not.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this: the graphics, the technical issues, which are slight, notwithstanding.
Well, the lighting is insane.
The lighting is insane, but when they first announced this game, it was touted as being the PS3 in its 1080p glory. This game is not 1080p.
I heard it was.
They can say it's 1080p all they want to. It's being upscaled to 1080p.
Yeah, this is the comment you made about in the little preview about it being upscaled. So why do you guys think it's being upscaled?
It's not 1080p native.
If you look at the aliasing that exists in this game, the sides of windows, the windshield wipers, the side of your mirrors when you're in cockpit mode, those aliasings, they exist when items are being upscaled or possibly downscaled. But I was playing at 720p. I was playing at 1080p.
It looks better in 1080p than in 720p. Like fewer
fewer
jaggies and stuff.
I will say the monitor I was playing on was smaller, so it may very well, but I didn't see it.
I don't know. I think the average person will not be disappointed with the graphics in Gran Turismo 5.
No,
they won't be disappointed with the graphics at all. The graphics are gorgeous.
Yeah.
Frame rate problems in traffic, that's an issue. Screen tearing in half, that's an issue. And then, seriously, a lot of people still play offline. And to still have cars methodically driving on a set line, not paying attention to their surroundings any better than they do. Look, the best game for single-player racing, remains Codemasters Race Drivers, because those games always had believable AI. You would see guys make mistakes. You would be able to race them in similarly powered cars and have a good race. And if you got into a shoving match, it mattered to both people.
But what it boils down to, you have two basically new features in this version of Gran Turismo. You have GT2 TV, which is kind of their video hub where you'll be able to download exclusive videos and TV shows, stuff like that, which is cool, I admit it. But the only other new feature is online. And when you compare the online features that they've announced for Gran Turismo 5 Prologue, and you look at the online features of Forza, this is it pales in comparison.
Right, but once again, you're comparing a demo to a full game.
It's not a demo. It's not being sold as a demo.
It's a test bed.
It's a $40
it is a test bed.
demo? That's pretty rough.
Yeah, exactly.
It's more than a demo. I mean, it's 5 tracks with multiple variations on the tracks.
I kind of was on.
But two of these tracks we've played before. We played one of them last year in a demo. We played one of them earlier this year in a demo. So you're basically only getting 3 new tracks that you haven't seen before.
I think it kind of boils down to like the prologue is kind of a bad idea in general. I mean, it's giving people a taste and it's like putting it out there, but it's so limited.
But you really think
I disagree. I like it. I really, really like the idea of doing it, but I think that the problem is more in where it's at for what they're giving us right now.
But you honestly think this is Polyphony's decision to put this out, not Sony?
I think it's Polyphony. Yeah, I think it's Polyphony keeping it real with their fans because they genuinely are super hardcore car enthusiasts. They love what they do and they want to get something out there.
But they're basically charging their fans $40 to supplement the further development of their real game.
It's racing game episodic content.
Well, they've talked about that. They talked about releasing one with no cars on it.
They're selling a beta.
Yeah.
Like, so if you were SCEA, how would you handle this differently in America? Would you just make it a download, make it cheaper?
$20 is fine. I mean, I think $20 would be an acceptable price. It would be nicer if it was cheaper, but $20 is fine. $40, I think, is out of the question, and it's possible. They're not releasing in the U.S. and Europe yet. It's possible by the time they do release in Europe and the U.S., they may drop the price on it because they'll have made enough money in Japan.
Well, they never released any of the prologues here previously.
Yeah,
nope. They may have it tuned up more by then. Too.
Well, I mean, I will say that this game is selling well in Japan. I mean, they put the numbers out today. First week, it sold 116,000 copies. Put it number 3, the only PS3 title in the top 20.
Right, and we have no idea how many copies the download sold.
Yeah, I don't think they're including that in this list.
All right, and for those of you who thought that no one here was excited about the Top Gear stuff last week on the forums, fuck you all. I'm a freaking huge Top Gear fan. I watch that shit every week, and otherwise I wouldn't have known about the Stig and all that, so whatever.
Yeah.
These guys may not know about Top Gear.
No. Yeah. In fact, I talk about it in the One Up Show segment.
All right, anything else? What else you got going? Burnouts.
I've been playing some more Burnout. I played the demo a little bit on 360, and I will say that the performance in the demo is not indicative of the final game on the 360.
I am so glad you said that.
And I'm over all the hate for the demo in general.
It's bizarre.
So many of my friends who I thought I trusted and respected would like send me these giant AIM messages about how wrong I am about Burnout.
Me too.
How they totally broke Burnout. I'm like, shut up, retard.
Makes no sense.
My co-hosts they both were like, "This is stupid. I don't want it to become Grand Theft Auto." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?
Where did the Grand Theft Auto part come from?" By the way, Alex, pulling the right and left trigger at the same time, not hard. Really, seriously, that's not hard, dude. Yeah. That is not hard.
He was born without fingers.
It's hard. I don't know. I don't want. Yeah. And then the race starts. Yeah, the race starts after the screen wipes. It tells you there's going to be a race. They describe where the race is going, and then they say, "Oh, it's going to start."
You know what it is? I think it's fear of not having giant flashing arrows. Honestly, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, there's something comforting about knowing I need to turn here in order to finish the race.
Right. And I'd say during the first half an hour with the full real game, I felt like a little like let loose, like, whoa, there's no one telling me what to do. What am I supposed to do? And it's scary, but give it time. You spend hours and hours with it, and you and I, Dave, we both played it many, many hours. Everyone who's a hater, who likes Burnout previously, who thinks this demo is bad, you are wrong.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I love the inclusion of the sort of SSX combo system where it has the little clock that counts down when you can continue to add to the combo. Yeah. I think that's awesome, and I love that car as sort of snowboard trick vehicle.
Yeah, I mean, that's cool. I will say that the Showtime mode, in my opinion, is the weakest part of the game.
And everyone agrees. Everyone agrees that Showtime is not quite as good as traditional Crash mode, except for Garnet, who really loves Showtime. But
I think it's fucking awesome. I think it's Tony Hawk with a car.
Right. Yeah.
Which to me is cool. It's not Crash mode. It's not Crash mode.
It's a fun
Crash mode is a puzzle game.
Right.
Yes. And this game doesn't have puzzles,
Yeah, and I think Showtime will be a lot more fun with your friends online as a fun way to waste time. Yeah.
To solve some of people like Alex's complaint is similar to that, where they're worried about not having guided experiences. The one disappointment to me about the demo is it only has 3 hotspots in the entire demo that you can actually start events from. In the final game, every single intersection.
Well, but I think it's dangerous. How much do you give away in a demo?
Right. No, I get that. I'm just saying that every single intersection in the final game has an event that you can go do. So it's not like you're wandering around the map looking for events.
When you start the game, there are 120 events you can go do. Any of them you want.
Yeah, it's not really hard at all to figure out. And the whole idea of not having arrows, like you were talking about, that's kind of winds up being cool because you can have freeform races where you're not necessarily following everybody else on there. Right. Yeah. My disappointment was I downloaded the PS3 and the 360 version, and the PS3 version ran a hell of a lot better.
I agree.
The PS3 version, the final version, does run better than the 360, but it's not that much because I played primarily the PS3 version. Shane, you primarily played the 360 version.
No, I primarily played the PS3 version as well, but I played 360 online primarily because it's much easier to get on. And I found the performance to be completely sufficient on 360.
Yeah, okay, good.
We're talking like single-digit frames per second.
Yeah, on the 360 version of the demo, if you hop up on the freeway and you get in the oncoming lane and boost the whole way, by maintaining your boost gauge, by the time you it about 2/3 of the way down it's starting to seriously hitch.
Yeah.
I had the demo on 2 different inputs on the same TV, and I was literally flipping back and forth between the PS3 and the 360 in the same areas. And
hardcore confirmed.
Nice.
You can see a difference, but you have to really want to see. You have to really.
And I see a small textural difference, and people call bullshit on that, but I've seen it.
No.
I've seen it, and some textures look better on PS3. And Alex Ward told me that.
Well,
it's not
maybe
a
that's
mystery.
why you see them.
Well,
maybe that's the reason you see them.
No, it exists.
it exists.
The difference is on PS3 you don't have to compress the textures at all, and on 360 you are having to compress the textures.
I'm saying that's why you notice them is because you know they're there. I mean, you're aware of the fact that they're there, so you're seeing it.
The coolest thing about it is what they've done with the online stuff. Totally supersedes the benefit of Xbox Live. You basically, all of the ways in which Xbox Live is superior to the PS3's online situation is just completely taken out of the equation.
And the cool thing that I've heard is that a lot of people are saying to steal it. The really cool online system the Burnout has, I think people are going to start stealing.
Well, you have to imagine it's an EA product. They're good about sharing things among other parts of EA.
It's excellent. It's really easy to
use. And did you guys catch the basic confirmation that we're getting another SSX?
Yeah. We were talking about that earlier in the week. They talk about the mountains and
and he's giving a shout out to the other.
Although we should point out that the DJ voice is a bit of a douche, and it gets a little annoying after a while.
I don't think so. I was surprised. In my review, I even talk about I thought I would hate DJ Tomica, and he's helpful and useful.
DJ Tomica's #1 fan.
I know. He's like DJ Tomica. We roll.
He talks about
boys.
He talks about how Criterion and DJ Tomica are going to do a Burnout podcast. I'm excited about hearing it.
Well, I think it'd be cool if they streamed it live. We know EA has the technology to do that. They haven't said anything about it.
That'd be awesome if in the game you could listen to the podcast. Yeah, that'd be really great.
That's as much airtime as DJ Tomica deserves. I think.
Yeah.
I'm going with the overdone enough.
Yeah.
He helped me out.
I've been playing 2 more games real quick.
You're a game whore.
Well, he plays everything.
Man, I should be an intern.
I'm known as a shooter guy, so I've been playing a lot of COD 4 and, of course, Halo 3. I'd been kind of burned out on Halo 3, but I've been playing it recently. I'm doing some research on something that everybody will probably see in a month or 2. And I've been messing around primarily in
tease.
Yeah, I know. I've been messing around primarily in Forge, and I discovered something interesting. And I'm sure the hardcore Bungie kids have known this for a while, but people are going in Forge and recreating maps in Halo 2 that do not exist in Halo 3, using nothing but Forge, and the geometry is spot on. I'd say 90-95% exact. The specific ones I was playing was Lockout and Midship, which are 2 of the more popular maps from Halo 2 that aren't in Halo 3. And I was messing around with them, and it's impressive how exact they are. I was playing with a couple of buddies of mine. I'll go ahead and give them a shout out. Lush, MDK, and Alkaline.
This is no place for your posse shout outs. All right.
These guys are awesome. They play with a lot of us around here.
Well, let me ask you a question though. You said you're playing COD 4 online and Halo 3 online.
Yeah.
You know that you can't like both of those.
Oh, absolutely.
You have to choose one or the other.
No.
There can be only one.
No, they're different tastes. It's like vanilla and chocolate. You can go back and forth between them both.
But you're either a vanilla man or a chocolate man.
No, I'll admit I'm primarily a Halo guy.
Yeah. He's a swirl.
Yeah, I'm the
Neapolitan.
I'm the cookie. I'm look to the cookie.
Wow.
No, I like both of them, but I think COD offers an entirely different experience than Halo 3. The speed of play is entirely different.
We've covered that to death. We got that part down.
Do you find Call of Duty 4 to be unbalanced? No, we're just kidding.
Yeah, and there's no need to get into it. And I honestly agree with most of the points that people say about both games. They both have their pros. They both have their cons. I mean, I hate
that was thrilling.
I know. I hate to be the wish-washy.
If only there was some magazine that listed pros and cons for those games.
How diplomatic of you.
Oh Jesus. I hate to be middle of the road, but I do agree with most of the points.
Then don't be. Give us an opinion.
This is what I'll say. Matchmaking Halo 3, amazing. Matchmaking, non-existent, basically, as far as balancing out teams in COD 4, non-existent.
All right. What else?
And seeing Infinity Ward's background, it'll probably be 8 months before we see a patch that fixes that.
Oh, you didn't do that.
Yeah, well, they have released their first patch, but it didn't address this issue
It's
at
okay,
all.
Grant. We still love you.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I love the game. But I have no problems with it. It's a good game. And I got to say, I was getting burned out on Halo 3, and CO2 gave me a fix that has been a shot in the arm. I've enjoyed it.
I love getting shots in the jarm.
Right there in the jarm. What else?
I think he's played everything.
That's
right?
honestly,
done.
that's everything I've been
clear.
playing. Totally.
You're out.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Well, Res HD, but I won't talk about that.
Oh.
All right.
Jealousy +1.
We cleared my 2 because GT5.
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 Res HD.
Yeah.
Yeah, Res HD's up on PartnerNet.
Can't talk about it.
5.1 sound. It's Res.
Well, yeah, but
I can talk about it. It's Res.
and
Oh, you have a
HD.
5.1
In HD.
sound.
And 5.1 sound.
5.1 sound right there. That's the seal of the deal.
I still kind of wish it was on Wii, though. And I'm not kidding.
Patience.
So you can get
never
rid of
know.
that 5.1 sound and that high res that you just talked
So I,
about?
so I can play it with a pointer, as it's meant to be played.
All right. What?
I mean, it's not like it's never been playable with a pointer, but I think it would work really well.
That was bizarre. As it was meant to be
have you
played.
ever played Res? You're basically moving a pointer. All right,
with
just
a
saying.
stick that works the same. I don't. Why
So
do
you want the
need a
controls
pointer?
to be imprecise? Is that what you want? You want to shake as your hand
I
vibrates?
think moving your dude with the analog on the nunchuck and moving your cursor with the Wiimote would be excellent on that game. There aren't many games I think would be good on Wii, and that's one of them. All right.
That's nice.
I'm excited about the high res and the 5.1, and those would not be possible on Wii. So.
I'm excited about the 5.1. I mean, really, the high res. It's that game. The art style of it. I'm fine with it in upscaled. It looks good. It's the 5.1 sound that just like, oh man, turn that on.
You could have Dolby Pro Logic 2 on Wii.
unlike a
simulated
certain,
5.1.
unlike a certain Guitar Band game.
So you have another game on your list.
Yeah, my
here.
one other game was so I was traveling over the weekend, which put me on Handheld World, and I was like, okay, what am I going to take with me? Da, da, da. Oh, I know what I'll take. I'll take Final Fantasy XII Remnant.
I'm curious since I reviewed that game. So,
Oops, what a mistake.
are you a hater?
Oh my God, that game is a garbage.
You're in the Ray Barnhold
that game is
hate brigade.
Hate Brigade.
How far did
total.
How far did you get?
Past the first
Plastered.
past the first island in the air town. So
That's like that two an hour and a half in, dude.
it's like 3 hours in, and that's the wasted 3 hours of my life I'll never have back again.
You like Final Fantasy 12 more than me.
Okay,
right?
so I enjoyed.
You
the
like Final Fantasy
music,
Tactics as much as me, and you like RTSs more than me.
and I even liked Final Fantasy X too,
I like that too.
a lot.
I mean, it's not the best game ever, but I think
That would be the understatement of the
I
century.
think it is a step up from Heroes of Mana, which is very similar to.
Dude, first of all, why would you ever try and put a real-time strategy game on a device that has a screen that's about the size of the palm of my hand?
Well, but you do have, a stylus, and it does
Right.
seem
which
like
obstructs part of the screen while you're using it.
And which is also excellent when you're looking at all these 2D sprites that have stacked on top of each
Trust
other
me,
and you can't individually
the
select because
unit-
there's like
yeah.
a muddy mess of this shit and you're
the
like,
unit control in Revenant Wings is disastrous.
thank you. So how can it be
you have
remotely
to
good
learn-
when it's a unit control game?
Don't raise your hand. You have to learn to think past it and take into account the weaknesses in the item in the inventory management and item management and unit management.
Which the game is all about because it's a strategy game where you're commanding units to attack other units.
You kind of you think about it.
So the
differently.
game has a giant flaw, but
Right.
you can't not like it because of that giant flaw.
Because
You're not allowed
it
to not
renders
like
the whole
it.
fucking game unplayable. So the whole idea of this game is that you play as the heroes of Final Fantasy XII, and
their spunky friends, including a kid on a hoverboard.
right.
I'm not kidding.
This is very true, and it's a tactic. Well, it's kind of like it looks like tactic style maps, but it's a real-time strategy game. And the real-time strategy game element that's different is maps have these summoning portals, and you seize the summoning portal, and then each one of the guys in your team can summon a number of minions to fight for them. So the deal is you really want your minions to be leading the charge.
Well, early on, you can win by just spamming. You can basically do a Zerg rush and win. But the problem is by the point you got to, that starts not working anymore, and what you have to do is carefully put the right kinds of units.
I love it when he makes my argument, but tries to say that it's good.
You don't know how to play the game, so you have to put the right kinds of units with the right heroes, and you basically only control those 5 heroes and tell them where to go and what to do. And if you have the right units with them, then it works.
But right, so and you match the minions to the hero so that you have the same sort of types.
And there's also a paper rock scissors kind of thing happening.
Simplistic shit.
Right.
It's ranged and air and ground.
Yeah.
Shane knows how to manipulate these units.
I mean, I gave the game.
Give him a unit. He'll
I gave the game.
manipulate it.
I think I gave the game a 6.5.
Especially with a stylus.
I don't love this game,
He's a custom little pencil.
but I don't
things.
think it's a complete failure.
It is a complete failure.
No,
It's a complete failure because the whole idea of the game is that you're controlling these units on the screen, right? So what happens is as you get in larger battles, it's 2D units that wash all over the top of
They
it.
also get stuck. They get stuck behind stuff.
And they get stuck behind stuff. You have a big jumbled mess of people, and when they go behind stuff, there's no transparency, so you can't see what units you have back there.
So you guys are literally arguing about gradients of badness.
No, but it's not.
We're agreeing that it's not good.
It's not.
But it's just not as bad.
I would say it is above average.
It is not above average. It's
above
well below average because the whole game system doesn't work. And so the way you select, the way you wind up selecting your group is up at the top left-hand corner. You have pictures of your heroes, and if you tap once on it, it gives you your hero with their dudes. If you tap twice twice on it, it gives you just your hero. So what happens is you're furiously going around tapping twice, pulling your heroes out of the way so that you can select the minions and control them by themselves, and then use the heroes, which is this great awkward workaround because the game is shit.
It tries too many things. But I would like to see a sequel because I think there are some good ideas here, and it could be pared down, and rebalanced, and reworked.
Uh-huh.
And I think they could add co-op maybe.
So basically change the entire game and it'll be awesome.
No.
Yes.
Square Enix, they have no idea how to make RTSs. Now they've had 2 stabs at it, and they're making progress. So give me 3 or 4 more games, they'll have a good one.
I should let you make my point for me more often.
I know.
It's awesome. And the upside of it was it did take me back to Hotel Dusk because I didn't have anything
Hotel
else to
Dusk.
play. And that was great.
That's a fun game.
And I got a little more further into the story of Hotel Dusk, and I can put that down until the next time I have an airplane flight.
Somewhere Michael Donahoe is getting a wing.
All right. So now's the part. You have Devil May Cry, but you can't really do a whole lot.
I can dance.
Can you say anything else more about it?
I can dance around it. Yeah, I've played a lot more Devil May Cry. What can I say? I'm surprised by things I didn't know about the game, like the Devil Arm. What's it called? Devil Bringer. Your magical Nero's magic arm has this like Bionic Commando-esque grappling gameplay that I wasn't aware of.
It's in the video we put up.
I didn't want to spoil it, so I hadn't been watching a lot of the recent videos, so I didn't know. But it's throughout, and it's interesting, and it's challenging platforming that's like Bionic Commando. And it surprised me that Capcom would make a game that's like Bionic Commando when they're making Bionic Commando.
It's actually more like Lost Planet.
Which is like Bionic Commando.
Exactly, but I'm just saying that's probably what they're taking.
Bionic Commando's from 20 years ago, all right? So you can't say like...
So they're taking the 2D side-scrolling arm from Bionic Commando on the NES and putting in Devil May Cry? No, they're taking a 3D version from Lost Planet. I know we're arguing apples and arms.
Shut up.
Apples and arms. Actually, we're arguing.
Okay, what else can I say about this game? As I said, the cutscenes, a lot better than I thought they were going to be. I made fun of this game a while back, said the story was bullshit. I mean...
We're not surprised because, as you noted last week, the graphics engine has continued to evolve from the very first time you saw it. It keeps getting better and better, and to the point where it's amazing now.
The aesthetics, I'm not going to judge them, but I realized exactly what they were. Yesterday, I was like, this game is exactly Spawn meets Gundam. I was like fighting an angel that... like this angel Gundam thing. And there's like lots of them, like regular enemies. And I was like, this game is Spawn and Gundam.
You know, that's not actually a good thing.
It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, actually.
Are you sure? You've played the Spawn games, right?
Played the Gundam games, right?
I'm not saying the games. I'm saying the art. The art.
Okay,
people.
It's mechs and 5-year-old fantasy dragon warrior demonic stuff.
I don't think that's going to be a box quote.
Probably not.
No.
Man, yeah, I don't.
All right, you're boring us. Anything else?
What else do you think is safe to say? Like, what question can you ask me that you think is safe in previewing? And
safe in previewing.
I mean, people really want to know. This game is very exciting.
Okay, so in relationship to the combo system and the action speed of it, how would you compare the 4th to the 3rd and the 1st? Because I never played the 2nd. But like one of my my signature moment. Okay, first time I ever played Devil May Cry, and I've been in love with the series since then, was E3 many moons ago. First time I ever did the combo where you flip the sword around, get the guy up in the air, and juggle him on your guns.
Oh, that's like
that was instantaneous love.
That's like base level stuff here.
No, I know, but I'm saying
that's at the very beginning. Like,
so that sort of stylistic action play.
Other things that surprised me, like I hadn't really heard about the magic system so much. So Nero's magic, he gets these different weapons that basically summon other beings that you fight with them. You become them kind of, and you have different abilities with that, and you can unlock new spells through that. I didn't know about it. I didn't know about that, and that's new to the series, and it works pretty well, and you get different elements, and more or less, I'm surprised by the RPG elements, and it's a little bit more like a Zelda.
But is it still fast and stylish and in your face?
It is, but the pacing. There'll be action bars that are very obviously you're fighting lots of enemies and doing that. But then there's exploration, there's building, there's puzzle solving. I think they're taking it less from you're just character action, just fighting enemies, and
so they're adding depth to it. It sounds like
a lot more depth, a lot more RPG elements. I would say.
Interesting.
So, yeah, I'm looking forward to finishing it.
That sounds much better than Spawn meets Gundam.
Yes. Agreed.
What else have I been playing? Yesterday I played a little Halo 3.
You did? I was there.
Played a little co-op Halo 3 yesterday with Kathleen on her last day. It was it's what she wanted. For some reason, what she wanted from me was to play Halo 3 with me.
Are you still on easy?
I don't know what I was playing.
You were not on easy. You were on normal, which is same thing as easy on co-op. But
and then she asked what I thought of it, because I had never played Halo 3.
Yeah, it was his first time.
You were like, really? Wow, that concrete wall looks great.
Was she gentle with you?
I would say the light... Not very.
No.
I would say the lighting was better than I expected.
The lighting.
We got it on tape.
Lighting is better than I expected.
Very poor expectations of the lighting.
And it felt a lot like Halo 1 and Halo 2, which I've also played parts of. I don't know. Like, I don't know what was supposed to happen when like me playing Halo 3 was supposed to open a rift in the space-time continuum or something, but it was basically Halo. Mm-hmm.
You're not a shooter guy anyway. So
I like Halo. I wish we could have played.
How about this? Did you have a good time? Did you enjoy playing it?
Yeah, it's fun.
He was smiling.
Co-op is always fun.
He doesn't really want to admit to it, does he?
My favorite way of playing Halo is with only plasma swords, as I've said, because I'm not good at shooting, but I'm good at slicing.
I have this theory, if you'll let me pontificate for a moment.
For it.
I feel like people of our age who are
oldsters?
gamers, oldsters. When we got into gaming, there's two kinds of things you could do. You could turn on a PC and get into gaming, or you could get into like an RPG, like
Ultima?
For me, Ultima, Bard's Tale, Wizardry, or you could turn on a console and get into an RPG like Final Fantasy, Phantasy Star. Those are the two branching paths, and I think that defines what kind of gamer you like. I think Shane, you value the Japanese games more than the American games.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it really does boil down to I don't like games played from a first-person perspective.
Right.
And I don't think I'm alone in that. But I think PC gamers, that's what they're used to, and that's what they want, and that's what they're comfortable with. And as the popularity of Xbox 360 has seen this seismic shift in our industry to where first-person games are the best sellers.
Right.
And a lot of people who aren't used to that.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, GTA.
Well, GTA no, but like the Halos and the Call of Duties and whatnots.
Well, I think that it's like where a lot of people accuse you of being like on the Sony side. That's the Japanese aesthetic. That's where the home of those types of games is.
Right.
Whereas the sort of American domestic Western idea of what types of game, like Mass Effect, for instance, is a very different kind of role-playing game, and those types of role-playing games are what I personally grew up loving. And so
I don't like most Western role-playing games.
Right.
I played Morrowind. I tried playing Ultimas growing up, and I appreciated how deep they were, but they're just so aimless and open-ended, and you kind of to make your own fun. I don't like games where you're in charge of making your own fun, and that's how I feel like Oblivion and Morrowind were.
Well, that's a very PC sort of centric idea, right? Yeah. And this also points to one of the game design problems or differences between Eastern development and Western development. The first person that the rise of first-person games has masked in Western development, which is Western developers really struggle to create any sort of compelling characters, especially when it comes to the art side, that aren't just cliched. They so quickly, I don't know whether that's a function of marketing and publishers coming in and tweaking them and saying, oh, well, he should look like this guy, and he should have this feature, and he should have that hat, and all that kind of stuff. But it's all too often become these caricatures and cliches that just don't have traction. You're like,
agreed, man.
I've seen this dude. Oh boy, yippee!
That's one of the reasons I love Uncharted so much. Is that game to me is like playing a movie. It is completely 100% embraces that aesthetic.
But I find that character slightly unappealing to me.
Yeah, I heard you say that.
Yeah.
You find him
he's just
bland?
like a blank slate to me. I think
his blandness is why he worked because they didn't overdo it.
I think he's got a swagger that Harrison Ford had.
Runs like a queer French dude.
If that
he does, he runs like a queer French dude.
That's offensive to French people.
I'm just saying.
But
he runs like an affected Frenchman.
His run animation is interesting.
Less than stellar.
Swishy.
But that game embraces if you had. I'm sure a lot of people this weekend are going to go out and see National Treasure 2.
Probably.
And
yes.
I personally, I haven't seen the movie yet.
Oh, but I like Nick Cage.
I would suspect that the plot in that movie is not that much different than the plot of Uncharted. You
don't explore the ancient catacombs beneath, the Washington Monument
or Mount Rushmore.
Or Mount Rushmore. Yeah.
Well, I feel like that experience of playing, Drake's Fortune was almost comparable to going to see one of those kind of pulp action films, and I think those characters did have traction, like you said.
They worked. They really worked. They worked because they were good characters. They're characters you could identify with.
The girl didn't have double D's,
Nope.
It seemed like real people.
All really well voiced. All of the dialogue made sense. When
I finish DMC, I'm going to go back and finish Uncharted because I definitely want to finish it. I'm more than halfway through.
It's a fantastic game.
I really enjoyed what I played so far.
It kills me that it's not doing well because I want a sequel so bad.
I think it's going to have legs. I think it will get a sequel.
Well, I mean, it's doing great in Europe. It's #1 on the UK charts.
No, and it begs for serialization, doesn't it? I mean,
yeah.
It's the perfect target for that.
So the other game I played this week, I had to finish my 1-Up Nights review, and I'd written the EGM review like 2 months ago. So I went back and played a little more Nights to make sure I had played everything completely thoroughly. I'd beaten it with both characters, but I wanted to like get some higher grades. And I'm I stuck by my score. I can't change it, but I do believe it is a 7. And
what's wrong with that?
Well, what's weird is Knights fans, as it turns out, are these crazy people who...
As it turns out,
Knights fans are crazy.
Aren't you a Knights fan?
Well, I am, but I became realistic in the last 11 years. I realized, like...
Weren't you leading the charge of I'm a girl for liking Knights when we were talking about it 3 or 4 weeks ago?
No, I wasn't. But the thing is, people in their mind remember Knights 1 being like a 10. No, it really wasn't. It was probably like an 8. Around 7.5, actually. So
it had its flaws, but
right,
I mean, it was legendary for among other things because of the controller and the pack and the whole.
Right. So now
it was also a shining star and a pile of manure that was a Saturn.
That's not true. So now Knights 2 comes out 10 years.
That was kind of true, actually.
No. So now Knights 2 comes out 11 years later, and the biggest fans are the biggest haters. Like they're the ones who are buying it and hate it and are saying it's like a 0 or a 2 because it is different. They add a lot of new things, and like the basic gameplay. And this is what I say in my review. Like the core Knights gameplay. It has changed, but it's about the same, and it's just as good. Like all the shit they added, no, it's not that good, but it's like take it or leave it, and there's not as much of it. So if you like Knights, if you come out against Knights 2, like say it's garbage, like you were just confused to begin with, and you have these memories, you have these unrealistic expectations and unrealistic memories of Knights 1. So.
And thus say the Bettenhausen.
That's it.
All right. Jeff, you get to bring us home.
Awesome. I have been playing a lot of stuff also. We're kind of gearing up for our end of the year stuff, so I'm trying to finish up all the games that are in the running for Game of the Year.
Lead the unwashed masses through the greatness that was 2007.
It was great. I just went back and finished episode 2. Half-Life 2 Episode 2, I, like most people, tore it open and played Portal and then kind of set it aside because there's so much other stuff to play. And hot damn is Episode 2 awesome.
You're kind of alone here. I haven't finished it either, and I'm the one person
everyone who has played it says it's a lot better than Episode 1.
Oh, Episode 1 is a low point as far as the stuff that's on the disc.
What?
Half-Life 2, Episode 1, and Episode 2, if that's what you're comparing, Episode 1 is the low point. I'm not saying it's a low point for gaming.
I think Garnet goes crazy because he thinks that chick is so hot.
Oh my God. Chick is hot.
Actually, Ryan, I've talked to Ryan about this. He agrees with you, Garnet. He thinks Episode 1 is much better than people give it credit for.
Regardless of Alex's hotness or not, which, by the way, she definitely gets the hot side of that, the fact that they were able to take a game where they, for 2 full games, had this rather generic protagonist and not been character-centric, and somehow reverse the table and make it all about the characters and bring compelling stories and emotional contact into it is fucking amazing.
Garnet, you need to play Episode 2. If that's how you feel about Episode 1, you're going to get your mind blown.
Right. Like them turning the tables within... how long does Episode 1 take? 6 hours?
Yeah.
I mean, with them being able to turn the tables that quickly and make that big of a quantum change in the game is...
Well... If what I
how can you say that? How can you say it's the low point?
Wait, if what I've heard is true, and Episode 1 has no new graphical content, then what else would they have time to do besides make new AI and stuff?
Here's the problem I have with Episode 1. You get out. You spent all this time getting out of the Citadel. You just got the most kick-ass weapon in the history of video games.
The gravity gun, or
the blue gravity gun?
Exactly.
You just get out, you're the epic ending. All right, I'm so excited. Episode 1's going to start. We're picking up right where we left off. What do we got to do? We got to turn our ass around and walk right back where we just came out of without the kick-ass gun, doing the same stuff. I love the experience of Episode 1. I just think it's a low point as far as what I did. Now, Episode 2, on the other hand, you're in completely new areas. You are doing things you've never done. The end of Episode 2, and I won't spoil it.
I watched I heard you talk about it, so it's cool.
Oh, yeah. Okay. It is one of the most frenetic, tense, incredible experiences I've had.
Okay, so here's when you were describing that on Totally Rad Show, here's the immediate question that came to mind. Is it like either the showers or the underground in the dark with the flashlight scene from Episode 2, or does it feel or Episode 1, or does it feel actually fair?
It can be frustrating because they throw a lot of shit at you. But there are techniques that once you master them, it flows and it feels like you are in this world doing these things, running from point to point, having to manage. You're almost playing an RTS at the same time. Have you played?
I'm an hour in.
Oh God, you guys, seriously.
Because I didn't mind the end of episode 1, where you're going through the square and fighting the Striders and all that. That part felt perfectly fair to me, but especially the part where it was pitch black underground and you had the flashlight and you were being assailed by all the crazy zombies in a time sensitive situation with the elevator. That scene pissed me off worse than any scene in the Half-Life series.
Time limits need to go, as far as I'm concerned. And also, I'm not a big fan of the dark in games.
I'm not a big fan of the dark when it's used as a game mechanic to screw you up, just to artificially fuck with you.
Yeah,
it can be really cool dramatically. I mean, I think Condemned lived on the dark. Condemned made fantastic use of the dark.
Yeah,
but it didn't use it so much as a method of, well, we're just going to make this scene incredibly fucking hard for you.
Yeah, we got Condemned too, aren't you?
Except for the end of it. The end of Condemned was a mess.
Are you?
I agree.
I like the original Condemned. We have it.
All right, so back to.
Okay, so so played that. Played Avatar. We're going to review Avatar.
Avatar, the Airbender.
Yeah, this is a totally rad show.
It's a totally rad.
Best 1,000 points you'll ever get.
Well, easiest 1,000 points, that's for sure. It's a bad game, so I'm not going to talk about it very long. But I say it just because if you guys aren't watching,
like the show, is that your favorite
Cartoon
Network show? I heard there was a live action movie recently.
There's going to be. M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong's doing it.
No, I heard there was already one on TV.
Not that I'm aware of.
And this is different from James Cameron's
I was mixing up Avatar with Ben 10. Same audience.
You need to watch Avatar.
Right, is it on after Gummy Bears but before DuckTales?
Yes.
The true troll is coming out. Someone must have paid the toll.
I will.
You can turn off the Golden Girls marathon.
I've played an Avatar game.
I will take the Pepsi challenge with any of that shit. You bring your Avatar. You bring any epic storyline you want, and I'll put it up against Avatar.
Bring it.
Shane's example of epic storyline in TV shows includes I Love New York and
that's right. I forgot.
And The Hills.
Hannah Montana, right?
Yes.
But I will also. I'm
very upset with the endings of both I Love New York and Tila Tequila.
Well, I don't want to get too far away from the fact that I will own up to loving Gummy Bears and DuckTales. So suck on that.
DuckTales. I'm with you. The other one I don't know.
Both of them have amazing theme songs.
Chippendales Rescue Rangers.
Are you coming out in support of Rescue Rangers?
Yes.
I was too old to enjoy Rescue Rangers.
How do you not like Rescue Rangers? It has Fat Cat.
I just totally ratted this podcast. Just want you to know that. Okay, so played that. It's garbage and not a good game.
But the TV show is brilliant.
It is.
You got to segue from there to Zack and Wiki. Because we had a big debate about it last week.
You mean Jack and Wiki?
I heard it. There's a big debate about, did you play it? No. Did you play it? No. I played about an hour of it. Have you guys played any more of it?
About 2 hours. And that was the preview build a long time ago.
That game's brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Well, I was shocked that your character, it's not unusual for him to be crushed by spikes. A very violent death.
He gets violently killed frequently.
I've heard it's too hard for kids. The kids who will think it looks cool.
It is. It's got so many great things about it. I've been playing it more this week, even after our review came out, because I'm sadistic and want to feel like I have to finish it. But
that, and you want to rationalize why you bought a Wii.
Yes, indeed. You mean my Galaxy player?
Yeah.
It plays
Nintendo tapes.
It plays 3 or 4 other good games.
Yeah, I guess. But no, Zack and Wiki is worth playing. It's great. It's Zelda without any of the other Zelda parts. It's just the puzzles.
Yeah.
And the idea of using your Wiimote in all these cool ways is so great. It's so great.
You mean 101 ways to make a masturbation gesture?
Well, yes.
Are you upset that Dancing with the Stars is going to outsell it by 20 times?
Don't get me started on Dancing
Don't underestimate the appeal of Mario Lopez.
Actually, isn't Dancing with the Stars what they could have called Mario Galaxy?
You're right. Is Mario Lopez in the Wii version of Dancing with the Stars?
He's in the trailer that we put up.
The thing about Zack and Wiki, and I'm a lone voice in the dark here, but I don't understand why they didn't support the nunchuck. Because you do die 1,000 times, and most of them is because you figured out the next part of the puzzle, and then dudes start running at you, and you got to point frantically at the screen, and if you don't get away from them, you're dead. Game over.
Yeah.
You can buy restarts, but 9 times out of 10, the game will restart you a fraction of a second before you need to run away again.
So there's no combat, you just evade.
I mean, actually,
you can ring your bell to turn them into a weapon.
Not if they see you. You're powerless. There's certain points where you are completely powerless against the enemies.
Wow.
And you literally have to get to a point, and it has terrible pathfinding. All I want to do is just control the guy myself. Please. Don't let me point to a spot and have him run the wrong direction to get there and have me die. But there are such cool puzzles. It's really worth playing. It's just so frustrating in so many ways. Anyway,
after that ringing endorsement.
After that ringing, but it's seriously, it's worth playing. I've also been playing a game called Aquaria. Are you guys aware of this?
We actually have a segment on this week's One Up Show. We had the co-creator of the game here yesterday.
Awesome. Yeah, it was only 2 dudes that made this game.
Yeah, one of them, I think the other guy's in Canada.
Isn't it the most delightful, soothing experience playing the game?
No, it's cool.
What do you do? I haven't seen it.
It's like an old school side scroller, except you're a little nymph underwater creature girl, and you swim around the screen. You click where you need to go, and she swims, and you collect power-ups, you do puzzles. It's like an old kind of Metroid type of a game.
Sounds like a Sharky game.
No, Sharky's in there.
Are you just running around jumping and shooting?
You can sing, and you learn songs, and you right-click on your character, and it pulls up a circular wheel of different
is it
notes.
2D?
It's 2D, but gorgeous.
3D graphics.
No. It's
2D.
2D.
Very impressive 2D.
Hand-drawn 2D.
Gorgeous.
Looks really good.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you can sing these notes, and you learn songs that give you certain abilities and certain things, and you go from place to place. It's a huge game, and it's 2 guys. And the soundtrack.
And they're the same guys that actually made the I'm OK PC game, the Jack Thompson game.
Is this
yes.
Is this like a shareware game?
They have a demo out, but it's a full-featured, full retail game.
Yeah.
Right. And
it just won the Independent Games Festival, right?
Yeah.
That's how I heard about it.
Do you think it could come to like Xbox Live Arcade or PSN?
I have no doubt that they want that, right?
Without getting into any specifics, he definitely teases that.
Yeah. How could they not? I mean, it's
pretty natural.
Cool.
But it's worth playing, man.
Where would you find it right now?
PC, you can download the demo pretty much anywhere.
Okay.
And I don't know the exact site where you can get the full feature game, but if you do a Google search, you won't have
Go to One Up.
Yeah. These guys are BitBlot is the name of their company. BitBlot.
BitBlot, there you go.
Yeah, so that's
all right.
That's what I've been playing this week.
All right, so here's what we're going to do since we're already like an hour into this fantastic, orgasmic, crazy show. We're going to take a break real quick because I need to like get this thing out of my throat, and we just need to like take a chill for a second. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a break. When we come back on the other side, we're going to do community. You guys, we'll let Jeff and Shane dig into 2007 a little bit if you guys are up for that, and then we'll do news, and I'll cut some news stuff and make us get through it.
What's in your throat?
You can't, and it's awful. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Whatever's going around the office, everybody in our office has this shit. We should blame whoever the carrier was who brought it in. We'll figure out who that was. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Thank your holiday stars for Geometry Wars Galaxies, exclusively on Nintendo Wii and DS systems. Immerse yourself in the addicting 2D shooter with all new multiplayer modes, including co-op and versus, new enemies, more than 60 unique levels of gameplay, the all-new battle drone, leaderboards, and more. Look for Geometry Wars Galaxies on shelves now at your local retailer.
All right, we're back, and I thought a good way to get into this whole conversation, like bringing up 2007 in retrospect, was to start with what Weekly Famitsu did. Weekly Famitsu is a big Japanese magazine on video games and culture and fast food treats.
Yes.
That's
my favorite page, actually.
I know, and you turned me onto it. I have to admit.
Yeah, once a month in Famitsu, they review all the special,
Pucky?
No, it's like this month's special treats you can get at all the fast food restaurants and convenience stores.
It's truly fantastic.
Yeah, last time I was there, I was like, let's go to Sunkoos and try the special, mochi or whatever.
So there you go. Next time you're in Japan, plan ahead of time, get your Famitsu and look up your fast food treats. And beyond that, though, what they did was they went through the 2007 a quick set of questions, 280 users, and here's what they came up with: the questions. What developers stood out in 2007? Which hardware stood out in 2007? Which industry figure put on the best showing? What game software defied expectations? Then the other question is not really going to work so well for us, which was what kanji represented 2007 best. But that might work for some of you. But so anyway, what do you guys think? What stood out? I think the idea here is more in general. What stood out about 2007?
Too many games in the fall. That's
there's a very weak spring and summer. Not enough games in spring and summer, but an excellent fall with really good releases on every platform, which is something you don't usually see. Like everything had good games.
That's
okay.
True.
So what are you taking away from it? Dig into this more. What game software defied expectations for you? I mean, are you like going to say? I mean, how many people expected Crackdown to have the kind of impact it had and come at the beginning of the year.
I agree. I think Crackdown is one of the most underrated games of the year.
See,
I think because the Halo beta was on the disc, that did a disservice to the game.
Really?
I think it's a better game than people think.
I think it got way more press than it ever would have ever.
Well, that's true. I don't think
it didn't get that much press.
Yes, it
but
did.
It's not about the press. I think the quality of the game. People didn't. The press that it got wasn't about the quality of the game. It was about there's this other thing on the disc.
I think like the second half of it, like with the podcast, like the amount of talk here at Crackdown, the amount of talk on message boards, like
I think
Crackdown became a big word of mouth hit
in the hardcore community, but it never broke free from that at all, dude. I mean, it never took on the kind of playground, have fun, anybody can mess with it gameplay that it could have.
It's a better game than Assassin's Creed, and it's sold less than half.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Crackdown. I put more good time into that game than any other game first half of the year, but hands down.
But do you really think Crackdown can hang with like the heavy hitters now? Like really, is Crackdown going to win any awards? No.
But I think that's a timing issue.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like the Oscars. All the movies that win the Oscars are the ones that come out late in the year, November, December.
Yeah, and it's a fun game. And I heard Intihar on this podcast say something along the lines of, if you take the agility orbs out of that game, it's a 5 or something like that.
Yeah, he was like totally slacking on it.
Well, but why would you ever take the? I mean, that's the game. It's like, if you take the guns out of Halo, it's a 5.
I don't know. I've only played a little Crackdown. I've only played a little bit, but I think Crackdown suffers from the everything's more fun in co-op. Everything.
Why is that
I disagree.
bad?
I disagree. I think that's what Halo suffers from. But I think that Crackdown is a great, fun exploration game. It's the kind of game that I enjoy. I could go anywhere, do anything. I found stuff.
Did you play it mainly single player, or did you play it mainly co-op?
I played it mainly single player.
Really? All right.
And I will say it was a game that,
in fact, I had a hard time getting to work in co-op.
The achievements mattered. I mean, when you got that 500th agility orb, that was a big deal.
What about getting to the top of the spire,
no, totally.
or whatever it was called?
Yeah.
That was epic.
Vertigo-inducing.
So getting to the top of the spire in Assassin's Creed not epic?
No,
because you go
the first time you do it is.
Yeah,
then
the next
40 other times you
yeah.
have to do it. Yeah. No, I think Assassin's Creed is a decent game. I don't think it's a bad game. I didn't have as much fun as I did with.
It is weird because like Assassin's Creed, and it's no mystery that EGM not a big fan, OneUp not a big fan compared to a lot of the reviews it got elsewhere. And now that it's become this huge breakout hit,
crazy.
That like other publishers in the last week, I've heard other publishers talk about like, oh, we need Assassin's Creed. You know, we need this like pre-made, prefab AAA game that sells 3 million copies out the door. And it's weird. It's a weird disconnect when like the press is of two minds about it, and gamers are of two minds about it. Not everyone thinks this is like a 10 out of 10, and now it's become this huge deal that's going to be annualized and franchised, and it's kind of weird.
I hope that they learn, and
the follow-up will almost inevitably be better, be a better game than this.
I'm trying to think of something to compare this to, where like a AAA huge hit came out that not everybody can agree is actually good. That doesn't happen very often.
Well, I agree with that.
Well, before you get too far away from Crackdown, for me, the significant takeaway for 2007 about Crackdown is Crackdown laid out a foundation and a framework that other games can come along and improve on.
I'm excited for Infamous.
I'm really excited for Infamous, and
Prototype,
I think
right?
And Prototype looks really
Points
incredible.
Bulletin.
And well, yes, we'll see what happens with that game. In other news, though, I think the idea of what could happen with a Crackdown 2 is really cool. Maybe some ideas.
Didn't they already say that they missed the boat on that and they're working on a different game?
I heard that too. Yeah, there's not going to be a Crackdown 2
for a while, long while.
How about the spiritual successor to Crackdown, in that it would be a game that had the same sort of open play, because I think one of the boats they missed is that over the course of this year, downloadable content became a really big. It had its breakout year, really, right? I mean, it had been.
Well, I think this was the year of DLC.
Right. So
I think
I think next year is the year of user-generated content.
Well, maybe, but I think next year we're really going to see DLC that is something rather than DLC that isn't.
I think we saw it this year with like Warhawk
and Rock Band.
Well,
I think you'll see it grow into something really a solid corner of the foundation and not just add-ons like it's been. And I think that's where the next sort of open world building on the Crackdown idea game comes from, because the potential to add new structures and challenges and entire gameplay arenas into a game like that would make it just modularly expandable to whatever size. Well, I mean, whatever size, boom.
They did add a lot of content to the game. But they didn't add new areas. That's the difference. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, is that I think that if you start thinking in terms of what all can we add to this game and extend its life, you can lay out a big, base of here's the game, here's Crackdown. Now look what we can lay on top of it. And I think you'll probably see that in a GTA. I think that you'll see. I think that we already know the plans are very ambitious for GTA, and I think that's where they're headed.
Speaking for me personally, I find it hard once I've sort of gone through the course on a game. I find it hard to get re-excited about another car or another suit that I'm wearing, and it's hard for me to go back in my library and pull out that game that I already finished or already got enough of and do it just for that. But
you weren't going back to the closet in Resident Evil?
No.
Oh man, you missed the tuxedo. It's awesome.
Yeah. But if you tell me there's a new island, I'm like, yeah, I'm there. I'm downloading that. I'm checking that out.
Right. Or a remodeled downtown or a new structure, any of that kind of stuff. Because basically these structures became a jungle gym.
Yeah, absolutely.
You just drop new jungle gyms in there.
And it had the thing that pisses me off about Assassin's Creed, and also to a certain extent Zack and Wiki, is it seemed like there were design decisions, say that 3 times fast, that weren't based on what's the most fun way to do this. And Crackdown, it seemed like at every turn, it's what's the most fun way to go about doing this. With Assassin's Creed, it's like, I want to go into stealth, and how do I do that? Go ass slow. That's
on your horse.
Ass in Assassin's Creed,
On your horse.
Yeah, on my horse or on foot. It's mind-numbing.
No one's going to notice your horse.
Right? Yeah, right. It's walking slow. How could I possibly notice that?
It's a stealth horse.
But above and beyond that, it's not fun. It's not the fun way to go. It's the game mechanic that's not built around what's the most fun. And like you always say with Galaxy, it seems like at every design decision is like, what would be really fun? Stick him to something, pull it back, and fling him. That would be fun.
Galaxy, we haven't gotten to it. I still love Galaxy, newsflash. But what amazes me is like every point, it seems like they tried to stuff extra fun into every level. Like, what else can we put in this level?
Yeah.
And
everything you do in that game is built around what's the fun way to approach this.
Yep.
Okay, so emerging gameplay stood out in 2007. Downloadable content stood out in 2007.
Delays stood out in 2007. A lot of big games are delayed.
But that's nothing unique about that, is there?
It's a bummer to see things like GTA and Smash Brothers and Metal Gear being pushed far, far away.
I don't know. I was happy about all of that because I barely had time to get through the stuff that was already here.
Well, but it's because it all came out in the last 3 months of the year.
And those 3 things would have too.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't know. That wasn't a big takeaway for me.
I know. I felt the fall. Mario and Assassins are like the weird ones, but like there were a lot of shooters, too many shooters, and a lot of the shooters, because there was such a glut, failed. And if you were a B-grade shooter, you automatically failed.
That's true.
And like some of those games that got pushed back weren't first-person shooters, so it would have been nice to have more variety among the AAA games.
All right, so weigh in on this one then. HD gaming, 360 PS3, Wii successful.
The battle rage is on.
I have a theory about this, and I could be completely wrong, but I think the success of the Wii, not for everybody, but on a side note, I'm sure you guys experienced this. On my show, if you say anything negative about the Wii, God help you.
Nintendo fans, you don't fuck with them.
Yeah. Anyway,
yeah,
so I'm about to do that.
Let's be fair. The Sony fans do the same thing if you get on PS3. The only group that really doesn't have its hardcore fan base that strongly established is 360.
You're insane. Yeah, the Xbox fans are the worst.
Yeah. I don't think
Nintendo fans are the worst. Xbox fans are the second
I don't think
worst.
there's many of them. I think that there's a much larger, mass of mobilized people.
Nintendo fans have like a history, and like their fandom is so close to their being that like you're insulting them. Whereas it's not the same with Sony and
Sega fans
and
Microsoft.
Like that.
Let me just
all right. So back to what you're saying
is I think that the mass market appeal of the Wii. I think thinking about it, yes, it's crushing the competition, but I think it's a different kind of victory. I think the people, a lot of them, not the people that listen to this podcast that own a Wii, but the people that Nintendo is reaching that would never have bought a video game system anyway, those people are buying Elmo. They're buying whatever the next toy, and they're not buying it to buy more games for it.
Right.
They're buying it to get the experience that they want to have with the Wii, which is what it comes with. This is their gift to themselves or to whoever to have a specific experience that the Wii comes with. And I don't think the reason that...
So it's a fairly expensive plug it into the television toy.
I think so. For a lot of people. And for the people listening to this podcast that just got pissed off when they heard me say that, it's not.
It's not you.
It's not you. It's you're the people that are going out and buying all the games. But there's a reason why, for the most part, Wii games aren't owning the whole top 10 list.
Right.
And it's because
those Nintendo published titles.
Right, which you and me and everybody else who bought a Wii who listens to this podcast That's why we bought it. I bought a Wii
Right.
because I wanted to play Metroid, Zelda, and Mario.
And I think that you're right. The kids and the adults and the old people who are buying Wii, they're buying it for Wii Sports, and maybe they're buying Wii Play because Wii Play is selling like crazy,
and they need another
and
controller.
Maybe they're buying Carnival games, and maybe they're buying Dancing with the Stars.
But in
Seriously.
a year from now, I don't think those people are going to be as excited about their Wii as Xbox 360
Right.
owners are going to be excited and PS3 owners are going to be excited.
The people who are into HD gaming, like the people like us who've been following gaming, are serious about gaming, who spend $60 multiple times a year on games, that is not the people who love Wii. Maybe they have a Wii. Maybe they like Mario. Maybe they're like us.
Exactly.
But these are two totally different markets.
Completely different markets.
Right.
And congratulations to Nintendo for tapping into that because it's getting them a lot of success.
Well, and as much as shit as we give Nintendo about having no quality control and allowing anything to come out on their system, and we harp on that a lot, it is in their best interest, like monetarily, to have their games be the ones selling the best.
Yeah.
And when they let anything come out, it makes their games shine even brighter among the crap.
And it's the same with the DS. I mean, there's a metric shit ton of DSs in the world owned by people.
Yes.
And that means those titles should be owning in the sales charts, but they're not. It's because, my friend's dad, who bought it because he wanted to have Brain Age, he bought it to play Brain Age, and he was done.
Or
that's it.
A kid who gets Nintendogs, maybe they get one other game a year.
Yeah, it's not the same. It's apples and oranges. It's apples and arms.
Well, and the Xbox, and what we've seen from the Xbox,
and wait till he pulls that out on you on Totally Rad Show in the next couple of weeks, and you're like,
I was gonna say, I think it was Jarms.
Oh, Jarms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am the Yarm.
At the same time, we see that's an amazing Twin Peaks reference that nobody in the world besides me is going to
Give it up.
I mean, do you know what he this is even more hardcore? Do you know what he means when he says that?
No. I wish I did.
You know the man with one arm?
Yes.
So Little Mike he's Little Mike. He's the arm. He cut the arm, and that's the most complex Twin Peaks discussion I've ever had on this show. You get bonus points. Yeah, I was going to say Xbox 360 gamers. What people are trying to figure out about them is they buy so many games and they move from game to game.
Well, that's been the phenomenon from the first few months of its release.
And Ubisoft loves those gamers because they buy all of their games.
Well, as we looked at the NPDs last week, and we just had a very short amount of time to look at it, it was jumped right out at us. Wow, look at how well Assassin's Creed did on 360 versus how it did on PS3, and it was advertised on PS3.
Actually, if you look at the math though, in terms of installed user bases, it's a similar percentage, actually.
Okay, but it's a holiday sales item, and it's in a marketing world right now, and it was very heavily marketed as a PS3 title.
But here's an interesting thing. Okay, the first month of Guitar Hero 3, Guitar Hero 3, number one Xbox 360, and PS2 nowhere, Wii nowhere. Second month, we're seeing highest selling PS2, next Wii, 360 is not a top 10. And what that shows you is Xbox 360 gamers are adult men with jobs and a lot of income to spend on games the day they come out.
Yep.
Bought, migrated, and gone.
Right. Whereas people who are buying games for PS2 and Wii are parents buying them for kids for Christmas.
Right.
That's
Very
it right
true.
there. That's it. Look at that.
Well, and I'm a console creator. That's what I want. I want adult males with disposable income to buy a lot of games.
Not if you're Nintendo.
And I think a lot of what you guys talked about last week with the sales of Guitar Hero on the PS2 and the sales of the PS2, I don't think those are two separate phenomena. I think a lot of people buy a PS2 to play Guitar Hero. I think it's the same situation with the Wii. They want an experience. What do I need to buy to have that experience? I'm not looking to invest in a console to become my console of choice. I'm investing in an experience that's going to happen for me to get that one thing.
Right. I've heard random people talking about Guitar Hero, behind me at Walgreens. It's like a cultural thing now. You play Guitar Hero. You want to go buy a Guitar Hero. You know?
My friends who don't play video games own a PS2 and a Guitar Hero, and that's the only PS2 game they will ever own.
So, and rock out and have a blast.
And they do. And it's great fun.
Yeah, if you're looking back at 2007, and when it turns out that Guitar Hero 3 is probably the best-selling game, with Halo 3 and Pokemon fighting next to it, that's a big deal for Guitar Hero 3 to be the best-selling game of the year.
You know what it is? I just thought of this, but maybe 2007 is the year of the peripheral.
Between
the peripherals are the new lens flare. With Wii Fit and it's like
guitars,
how many freaking pieces of plastic do I need to have in my house?
Have you seen the Zapper?
I own the Zapper, unfortunately.
Oh. Wow, one born every day apparently.
Yeah.
All right, so let's take this back towards one of the big questions actually is bouncing on our message board, which is, what are you going to take away? What's the memory of a video? What's the video game memory of 2007 that stands out for you?
BioShock.
By
far?
What part of BioShock?
The story.
Really?
I think the story of BioShock progressed the medium of video games. I think it's it's as close to art as you can get, as we've gotten in video games. It's an experience that can only be communicated to you in an interactive medium.
Amen, brother.
I think it's the game of the year, and I think people who played a couple of hours of it and think they got it. If I can say to you, would you kindly tell me what you think about the game, and you don't know what I'm talking about, you don't get to tell me what you think of BioShock.
That's a good point.
Because for me, that moment blew my mind, and it's because I was participating in the story. And if that happened in a movie like Memento, for instance, it's an interesting experience, but I didn't do it.
Right.
And because I am active, and this is the only entertainment medium where I am an active participant, this is a story that could only happen in a video game. People talk about Mass Effect as having great writing, and
people really like that. The dialogue tree.
Yeah, right. Okay, I agree. Dialogue tree's nice, but when you die 1,000 times and the damn save game autosave didn't help you in any way, so you have to play the same situation over and over, and you try to do the different things in the dialogue tree, and your guy ends up saying the same thing over and over, you kind of realize that it's a little magician's trick, and he's kind of, okay.
You're seeing behind the curtain there.
But I agree the dialogue is well written in a way, but the story that's happening in Mass Effect is trite.
Is it derivative?
Bad. It's bad sci-fi. It's like the Forerunners were.
Right. Sorry, the train has to screech to a halt here. How the hell? How is it trite? How is it trite after you just said that you loved Uncharted? You said you loved Uncharted, but Mass Effect is trite.
I know. I see the fault in that because they're both pulpy.
They're both off the shelf, typically used story frameworks.
I agree. The difference is in Uncharted, I have an experience that I can relate to.
Uncharted's a very simple story.
Uncharted is a very simple story, and I think so is Star Wars. The first, episode 4.
Yeah, not episodes 1, 2, and 3.
Episodes 1, 2, and 3 are Mass Effect. Episode 4 is Uncharted.
Political intrigue, not that exciting.
I have a question.
No, but drama and character and relationships, that's the core of what gets you involved in these things.
Okay, but if I was going to make a role-playing game, or if a role-playing game was going to be created, set in 2007, would the main character be going to the UN and talking to the UN and asking for the UN Council to validate? No, that only happens in sci-fi.
If it was Attack of the Clones, it would be.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. In Star Trek and Star Wars, it's always about the freaking the Galactic Senate, and what is great about Uncharted,
egalitarian, wonderful places, oh my gosh.
And you're talking to the room of 80 dudes in robes.
Does it happen? Does it happen in Mass Effect?
Yes, that's the whole game.
Yeah, it happens within the first 2 hours of Mass Effect.
And it's all about what happened billions of years ago.
Billions.
That you're a bit player in.
But is the lore as interesting as like the Star Wars back lore?
It's interesting, but it feels a bit like the Matrix by the time, especially Matrix 2 and 3.
Wait, is there like an architect?
I'm not going to get into specifics because it's totally spoilerific, but there's a cyclical nature to the universe around Mass Effect, which is very similar to some of the things that take place in Matrix 2 and 3.
Yeah, and it's at a certain point, I got the when we got our review copy, we got a spoiler sheet of stuff you can and can't say about it.
Right.
And it was
Everybody got that.
Right. And it was like, okay, you can say that the ship is morphing, but you can't say it's sentient, and you can say the such and such race was this, redone. It's like it's mumbo jumbo. It's sci-fi gobbledygook.
So because they made up names for fictional races in a sci-fi environment, that's bad?
No.
Because the sci-fi archetype doesn't have the strict archetype that Tolkien gave us for fantasy world, where trolls are trolls and orcs are orcs. Because sci-fi doesn't have that, it doesn't count.
No, I don't agree with that, and I see your point, and it's a valid one. What I'm saying is that unnecessary complication, unnecessary being complex isn't being deep. Being convoluted isn't being deep. That's like bad sci-fi writing. What's good writing is putting me in a situation that is compelling to me. BioShock puts me in a situation that I can't not be compelled to be part of from the very first moment. Not only that, but it doesn't give me a story. The way it presents its story, I have to be participant in.
So you're very much a character actor.
Well, maybe.
You're very much a character. I mean, obviously, that's what you're talking about. What we're talking about here is you need that grounding. You need that point of reference where I can. You know what? I can latch onto this nugget. Now I get it.
I mean, like, part of why I love Japanese RPGs is they are so character-driven, and is Mass Effect not that character-driven?
I think
generic character-driven.
It is not generic character-driven.
Do you care about these characters? If a character dies, are you sad?
Well, here's the interesting thing.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Here's the interesting thing. For me, Mass Effect became interesting when I started having the conversation with my friends after we had both played through it. And it was like, well, what did you do? Well, what did you do? Well, what did you do? And which is exactly what the designers wanted. I agree. But it's like a Saturday Night Live sketch that isn't funny when you're watching it, but it's funny when you're recounting it to your friends. You know, it becomes interesting after the fact, you know? Anyway.
That's very mid-90s SNL.
This is the difference I have between BioShock and Mass Effect. I liked both games to different degrees. BioShock had me within 30 seconds of it starting. Mass Effect did not have me until 6 or 7 hours in.
Because Mass Effect relies on you developing your relationships with the characters, because you have to... You're right. There is not a Shepard model. The Shepard model is what you make out of the Shepard model, and you're developing that Shepard model over the first few hours of playing the game. And it's how you relate with the various people you come into contact. It's how you relate with the NPCs. It's how you relate. It's what you want that character to be, and that's what BioWare RPGs have been about. That's why you have the whole Paragon versus,
which has no effect on the gameplay whatsoever.
You mean Light Side versus Dark Side?
Well, yes. But here's the thing. Garnet, I know that you are a huge Oblivion fan, as am I.
I'm actually not a huge Oblivion fan.
Oh, I guess I don't know that.
I think Oblivion is an unguided train wreck.
Really?
High five.
Oh
no,
my God. Okay, all right. Well, that's valid. I mean, that's a valid opinion.
And
I can't help comparing.
It's an incorrect opinion.
I've tried.
I think I'd go further.
Brother, dude, you have no idea. I started playing the Elder Scrolls when it was the Elder Scrolls Arena, and it took me freaking 25 different DOS discs to get the goddamn thing to boot.
So did I. Yeah, me
too.
Did
you beat Daggerfall? The hint book was the biggest image.
Not only that, I played Daggerfall after it finally worked, and that was 3 fucking patches in.
Yeah. But this has started praising BioShock, and I think it deserves it in the sense that, like, the way you get the story in BioShock is you hear everybody's opinion about what happened, and you, the player, have to decide what you believe happened. You don't get a computer that at one point goes, here's what happened up till now.
Does that happen in Mass Effect?
Well,
yes.
But ultimately in BioShock,
sort of like that.
I can't let you completely off the hook of that. Ultimately, in BioShock, it doesn't matter what you believe what happened. You get told what happens at the end of the game. And that's what happened. You can't change it.
Well, I agree that you have a binary choice of what ending.
That doesn't really matter.
That doesn't really. But the journey
other
of
than whether you want to feel good or not.
The journey of getting there, you don't know. You don't know who to trust.
No, that's true. I'll say this is the difference. BioShock, the journey up to the end is far better than the actual end. My opinion.
But so are most things in life.
Mass Effect, I feel like the last 2 to 3 hours of that game are phenomenal, way better than the journey up to that end.
Really?
Absolutely.
I have another question. What class did you play in Mass Effect?
I've played 2. I played through twice.
Okay, what?
Soldier and Vanguard.
Okay, both soldier classes. What did you play?
I'm playing the one that's part tech, part warrior. What's
You're going to have fun with
Vanguard.
that one.
No, that's a Vanguard.
Oh.
I played the Sentinel. Which is the mage class, which is biotics and magic.
That's what Jen tried to play as.
She couldn't beat the
last boss.
Terrible.
Yeah.
It is broken.
Yeah, according to her and Brian, like, the game was broken. That character is not really usable.
And but how can I thought to myself about 3 hours in, you know what? I think I would be having a completely different experience with this game if I started over as a soldier class or a half soldier class. And then I went, you know what? Fuck them. I'm not doing that. I'm playing this game. They had this as an option to start. I'm playing the game. And it was controller throwing frustration.
You played it wrong.
Yeah, like Revenant, right?
You're banging the shoulder button all the time to stop battle and to send controls out, because that's the one disconnect I have with playing the game is that I get involved in this epic storyline. I love the political intrigue. I love how deep and well thought through all of the factions in the game are, and the motivations for those factions at every level work. But when I'm playing the game, the combat for me is just, everyone likes the combat, and I'm like, really? Because I
hated the combat.
I think the combat's kind of crap.
I agree.
It starts out crap, but it does get better as you go along.
Well,
it just gives you more options. It doesn't get better.
No, it does. The targeting gets better
because you
leveled up.
Because you level up in the targeting.
And I'll say that's from a soldier perspective. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I had to use pistols the whole damn time. The AI is atrocious of my own guys and the bad guys.
Oh, the bad guys are terrible.
But my own guys,
I feel like straight at you.
I mean, it is interesting the amount of complaints that everybody I've spoken to who played this game has. Yeah, it's still 9.
The sum of its parts,
it's a 9.
To me, the sum of its parts is so much greater than any individual one of them. Again, if you like epic soap operas, space soap opera kind of thing, that's this. Especially well thought out. I mean, I can't imagine how much backstory Drew wrote, the guy who wrote this story. I can't imagine how much he wrote for this.
Well, you read most of it in the codex. I mean, you get all that in the game if you want it. Yeah.
There's no better way to tell a story than through a codec.
You know what? You're right, that part.
You love MGS.
You don't have to read the codec.
MGS does all of its storytelling through codec.
You don't have to read the codec. If you don't want to read the codec, interact with the characters. If you want to play an RPG, why are you not walking around interacting with the characters? If you're not interacting with the characters, you're missing part of the experience of playing the game.
Oblivion did all of that so much better, and it had such a deeper range of experiences. I could go down a whole completely different path and become a different kind of guy. That's role-playing, right? I can be a complete... This game, I started out, I made a decision to be a Sentinel, and I was fucked.
But Mass Effect keeps me on the storyline and keeps me engaged with what's happening in the game, whereas in Oblivion, once you're about 6 to 8 hours into it, it's all wide open, and if you want to just blow the damn thing off, blow it off.
I don't know, man.
I hate that. I hate that about the game. Oblivion's problem with me is that by about 16 hours in, I have no motivation to play the damn central storyline anymore. I'm just like, you know what? Screw it.
Well, I mean, that's valid. I didn't have that experience, and I wanted any one of the side quests of Mass Effect to be as compelling as any of the guild side quests in Oblivion.
And to answer what a couple of people on the forums pointed out, yes, some of the side quests did help in some way relate back to the main story, but they weren't nearly as tied into the core progression as had been promised.
And they're so shallow.
Yeah, there's one. The Luna mission is the only mission in the entire side mission, the entire game, that has an effect on your character other than building up XP or getting money.
And I liked that mission. That was cool to go to our solar system.
The first time you drive up over the hill,
it's the same mission every time. You land on the thing, you go to the building, you kill all the stuff there. Each planet is a path. It's
right.
I just was really, really, really excited for Mass Effect and got disappointed. I think I feel like a jilted.
What a hater.
He was kind of a hater.
I got the hater pants on.
I think he's wrong.
I think we beat that.
We've beaten Mass Effect to death. All right, so community stuff, David. There you go.
Okay. I guess since we've been looking back at 07, it's probably a good idea to take a look forward at 08. And user Sully907 asked this question: what underhyped game are you looking forward to most in 08? He lists a few high-profile games like Fable 2, MGS4, Chris Burnout Paradise, Devil May Cry 4. But what are some under-the-radar, low-budget titles that you're personally looking forward to most in 08?
That's a good one.
Yeah, and I'll go ahead and throw out some of the examples. Flood Sergeant Johnson mentioned Borderlands and Saboteur, Final Fantasy Ruler 88, which I believe is Shane's.
Wait, hold on. Does Flood Sergeant Johnson really think Fallout 3 is underhyped?
A little bit, maybe.
To your mass consumer, I think it is. If you're not a Fallout fan,
I think console gamers don't know why they should care yet, but they should.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because to me, it's like Oblivion, but good.
Yeah, totally. Well, and Final Fantasy Ruler 88, which might be Shane's name, I'm not sure, is looking forward to Star Wars The Force Unleashed and Mercenaries 2 and a couple other games as well.
Well, he's got mine right there. Mercenaries 2. I mean, one of the most fun and overlooked games besides...
You don't think all the delays, though, point to trouble?
No, I don't really think that's at all. I think what they point to is a game that is... I think a game that was already derivative.
Have you seen it running? Have you?
Not... In a long enough time that I'm cautiously optimistic.
I haven't seen it in a long time either. Last time I saw it,
I agree with you last time I saw it, okay? So I'm cautiously optimistic that during the interim, they've been working on that problem.
I hope so. I like Pandemic. I think they're a good developer.
They're smart enough to delay it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a good sign.
And look, the game was derivative in the first place, right? It's a military GTA. And that was the idea, and it was a lot of fun. And working the deck of cards was really cool. I really, really, really enjoyed the first game. So I'm hopeful on the graphics.
I'm optimistic as well.
Optimistic on the graphics front. And then what could they do with it beyond that? Well, Pandemic's been a great developer. I think that this could be a really fun game to play. Lots of hardware to mess around with. Open play on the internet.
Yeah.
Perfect tie-in. That's mine. That would be mine, definitely.
I don't know. Define underhyped. You know.
I mean, you can define it yourself. I mean,
I've got one.
Go for it.
Okay.
I've been a Star Wars supporter since it was first announced. Africa.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Can't wait. Africa, amazing. That and Aqua
Is it
Boat.
Pokemon Snap?
Pokemon
Is that
Snap
what it is?
Part 2.
But you get to drive a Jeep in like a photorealistic.
It's Pokemon
Savannah?
Snap meets Blue Planet.
I hope it's co-op. It would be amazing if it has like online
Can you
co-op.
gift individual songs off iTunes?
Are you gonna give me Toto? I already have it.
Oh, I thought of one.
Whoa, we already have.
Of course I have Toto. Hello.
I thought of one. Brutal Legend.
It's getting some hype, but like I don't really
Did you
understand. I mean, I love Tim Schafer. He's a friend of mine, but I don't really understand that game. Like, what do you do?
I don't understand
it sounds
it
like
either.
it's
That's what I like about it.
It's like 5 different genres. I don't know what.
Did you guys see? I think was N guy on his article or in his column suggested that now that it's all the companies merged that there should be a Guitar Hero co-op mode where you have that would be.
I'm saying I've heard off the record you may be able to use your Guitar Hero controller.
That may
really.
be the greatest
I can't
game
confirm
ever.
That's a rumor going around.
If that happens, I will be very happy.
Yeah.
Wow. That'd be fantastic.
And a friend of mine at Blizzard, he was joking that like the new Bard expansion will also use the Guitar Hero controller in WoW. It was a joke, I think.
I think. I like the I think.
Well, they're all under the same wonderful corporate umbrella now.
All right, David Ellis, what do you got for this? What's yours?
It's a good question. I mean, some of the ones that mentioned, and we did a segment on it, I think 2 weeks ago on One Up Show, and Dark Sector, got a chance to see that myself. Got a chance to play with it.
Really?
It looks really good.
No, dude, don't thumbs down at Garnet. It's come a long ways.
Exactly.
Sci-fi crawl? Give me a break.
It's like
it looks good.
It's like Resident Evil meets Crawl meets post-apocalyptic meets Heavenly Sword. There you go.
With a little bit of Zelda.
Meeting.
The boomerang.
A little bit of Zelda.
Yeah. I mean, I think
all right.
Personally, I think it looks really good.
It is underhyped. Definitely
underhyped.
Hey, I am glad to throw that. The only thing that does worry me, and I will say, when we were in the preview session, they very briefly mentioned that multiplayer was going to be a component of the game, not co-op.
I think I'll Netflix crawl and relive high school.
There was an audible groan when they mentioned multiplayer because Flashes of the Darkness and its multiplayer, flashed through everyone's head. It's one of those games where I don't feel it needs multiplayer, but they're going to take development resources away from single player and build some kind of multiplayer component. I hope it's cool, but
is this developed by ex Unreal guys? I mean, they should know what they're doing.
We'll see.
What's their track record?
They made Pariah, which Sean Elliott, who everyone loves, gave a 9.0 in EGM. By the way,
how can you not love?
He gave Pariah 9.0.
Yep. You think I make fun of you for Prey? I'll make fun of him for Pariah.
And by the way, I love how people jumped in. Garnet only gave Prey an 8, and I feel so much better now. I'm like, thank you. I feel so much better now. I can stand behind that 8 right now. Pariah 9.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the end of the world right there. Digital Extremes is fine. Here's my problem, and I've had it with the same problem with Pariah, is that the games feel super mechanical. You don't get much feedback from the weapon. You don't really get a feel of immersion in the game, and it's just there's a certain you're gonna do it like Jeff. Are you a shooter player?
Yeah.
So do you get into that zone where you start playing it for a while and within like 5 minutes whether you're gonna drop on into the game or stay out here all the time?
Yeah, absolutely.
And every one of their games, I've always stayed out here. I've never been able to get past that. I'm playing with a controller and trying to.
You never actually get into it.
Yeah, no, I just cannot break through that wall with them. And Dark Sector had the same problem for me when I played it at Penny Arcade Expo on the show floor. And so anyone who played it there.
I was going to say the 9 is also the number of people that played Pariah, right?
I thought of another good underhyped game I'm excited for. That weird Sega RTS called Valkyrie of the Battlefield.
Yeah, we just got a new trailer.
Yeah, it was at TGS and they showed some new stuff, and I think it looks really cool because it's like a turn-based tactical RPG like Final Fantasy Tactics, but you actually aim your guns. So that's the new part.
You know what? I can be ultra controversial because I think at the other end of the spectrum of overhyped, super hyped games that are going to disappoint, I'm going to go with Spore.
Oh,
I think Spore.
You mean Game of the Years 2004 through 2007?
I'm telling you, I have this feeling that Spore is so high concept and so delayed that when it comes out, it is going to hit like a freaking lead brick.
It might fail, but I think it will be an amazing game. But I still hate the art. I think it looks like a rare game, like a bad rare game.
That's one part. Every time I see it, I'm like, that's not going to connect with people.
I think he will not put out a game that he can't stand in front of people and go, "This is my game."
Will is such a futurist. I think he's already moved on from the game.
Really?
I think he's already off on something else.
Well, I've never met the guy, and you guys have.
He's brilliant, but
he's brilliant.
He's so brilliant. He's such a genius that like he builds robots for fun in his spare time.
I think he got bored with Spore already, and
Really?
that no one can finish it, and no one has the vision to lead it home, and that's why it's been wandering, and that it's out there somewhere.
Well, Sam Kennedy, who had a chance to play with it for an extended period of time at Leipzig earlier this year, he liked it a lot. So
I know he did.
And I definitely respect Sam's opinion.
But I see that game and I start thinking about that Relic RTS where you were putting together animal parts.
I remember that one.
What the hell was it?
It had a one-word title.
What was that called?
Someone will correct us on the show. But I'm starting to get that vibe where it's like, okay, you know what? Somewhere along the line there was something, but they lost their way.
Was that Darwinia? No.
No.
Right.
Well,
Incredible.
I'll mention another game that someone may argue that it's not underhyped, but I feel that outside of like hardcore Xbox fans, a lot of people aren't talking about this. I know Garnet is looking forward to it, and that's Alan Wake.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm excited. I mean, it's
Are
hard.
you kidding me? I love story. This is like video gaming is my entertainment.
It looks very appealing, and
it's hard to get excited. We haven't seen anything
exactly
on it in over a year.
That's exactly the point. I mean, Microsoft and they're not showing anything on this game, and that has me worried. But
likewise, can I say that Too Human is underhyped? No, because it's been 10 years coming.
Yeah. Heavy Rain.
Yeah.
You could definitely say that one was underhyped.
They announced that they've apparently defeated the Uncanny Valley. Those developers.
They've defeated it.
They announced we've defeated the Uncanny Valley.
Did they film this epic duel?
I don't know. Let's see.
That's nuts. All right, let's move on to some news, folks. And let's start off, speaking of Uncanny Valleys, let's start off with just you guys. Anybody want to throw out a comment on the Duke Nukem teaser video?
Let me go first.
Who doesn't? You were the one who said don't put your hand in the air.
I have a theory, and I gotta say,
Mr. Goddamn! Mr. Goddamn!
After viewing that trailer and looking over what appears to be the real-time gameplay snippets in it, the theory that game is based on the Doom 3 engine and is going to be marketed to a Walmart crowd who buys like Big Game Hunter, I think that is what's true about this game.
Cabela's Duke?
Flat out.
They realize that the hardcore PC shooter market's dead anyway. Crysis sells 85,000 copies. So go mainstream, go to a game people can play. So I bet it's going to run on a lot more computers than people think.
I will say I was I work at Game Videos. I get most of the videos. I get to see them before most everyone else because I have to put them up on the site. And I was the first person in the office to see it, and I laughed out loud when I saw it, and not for the right reasons.
No, it looks bad.
There is no way this game is going to be good.
No.
No way.
Here's what
they should have done with the trailer.
And it hurts me to say that. It's a game whose
obviously
time
not
has
enough.
come and gone.
You're so full of shit.
No,
you are so full of shit. This game will prove you wrong.
I don't know. I feel
what makes
you will have a blast with it.
Wait.
What makes you believe that? What makes you believe that?
I don't know. I'm just arguing.
In that trailer, everyone in that trailer, when Duke Nukem blows smoke at the camera, and at the end, the stupid shit joke. Seriously.
That's why.
Seriously,
that right there is why
I was laughing out loud at it. At them, at George Broussard, at everyone involved.
What they're making fun of at this point is what most people relate to. Is that dude is the governor of our state? I mean, the paradigm has shifted so far that he's not even thought of as that guy anymore.
And as I've said before, when Duke Nukem 3D was relevant and important, I remember going over to my friend's house and thinking it was a cool looking game with strippers and cops who were pigs, and I was 13.
Right.
Okay, a lot has changed. The entire genre has changed.
As someone who's still 12, I can appreciate that aesthetic.
This is a fundamental problem I have with the trailer.
How many copies did Postal sell? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Jesus. I just feel
not enough to support Gary Coleman. He's always doing those loan ads.
Yeah. I just feel like they took the wrong tack with this trailer.
They did.
I feel like they should have been self-referential, made fun of themselves, made fun of the delay, and they didn't do that. And who knows how long they spent on this teaser trailer? It's obvious from the comments that came out after the fact. When they first announced the trailer, there was a huge blow up, and they announced on the forums afterwards, don't read too much into this trailer.
It's just a teaser.
So who knows how long? They could have thrown it together in 6 hours.
Well, they kind of implied that a few guys around the office worked late to make this trailer.
It took them 6 hours and 10 years.
Number one, brilliant missed opportunity of starting this with a pre-roll from the very first trailer we ever saw of this thing, and then having that and cutting to this. That would have been hilarious. Number two problem, no pig cops. How do you not have pit cops?
There is a pit cop. It's for like 1 second.
Unrecognizable, but he's
really
huge. He's got tusks coming out of his face. He's in
more embarrassing.
Okay, we'll go back and watch it again.
More embarrassing. Wait, is the enemy who looks like the blockhead guys from Gumby? It's like the worst enemy I've ever seen in my entire life.
I've wanted to kill one of those guys for a while, though.
Yeah.
So.
And then and not enough Duke, not enough bullshit voiceover.
There's more than enough Duke.
But that's the interesting thing. If you read a lot of the message boards, they don't like that voiceover, even though it's
and I agree. The voiceover,
they think
the new voice.
they should have gotten a quote unquote real actor to do the voiceover for it.
I love the list of all the stuff that has been created since this game was announced.
Yeah.
Like Google and eBay.
Seriously, I do hope that this is a Doom 3 engine.
Great. That is great.
I hope it's a Doom 3 engine game. I hope it comes out at a mass market price at Walmart. Because seriously, if they're trying to compete with Halo, with like Crysis and with Unreal and Half-Life,
What market is this game for? The people that shop at Walmart and buy those games, they've never heard of Duke Nukem, have they?
Oh, sure.
Rednecks,
Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah,
like
they have.
Strippers? Holy shit.
Strippers, Strippers shop at
Beers,
Walmart.
like,
I agree.
strippers, money, yeah.
I would presume that like now the possible market for Duke Nukem Forever are like 20-something people in Middle America who grew up playing Duke Nukem 10 years ago.
And Redneck Rampage.
But that's the problem. Yeah. Those people aren't going to be happy. Those people, I don't know. Maybe
they will. I don't know.
They probably
I don't
laughed
know.
at the shit joke. Who knows?
As someone who's interviewed George B. and Scott Miller, and those guys actually they talk a really good story. They seem to be genuine about it. I think they're having fun. I think they're trying to get something right.
They've been having fun for 10 years.
That's my concern. That's my concern. And my other concern is whether they actually have a team there that can put the fucking thing together. And they just need to finish it. And it needs to be fun. It needs to not take itself too seriously. And it needs to be Duke. And the problem with the demo teaser was it was trying too hard to be a serious game.
Well, there's no game that they can put out that we can look at and go, well, that was worth 10 years of
I would wager
that.
I would wager that a making of DVD would be 100 times more entertaining than Duke Forever.
Yes.
But I mean, does it really matter how long when it comes out? Does it matter how long it took for them to put together?
No, but the hardcore market, that's what they're going to go. They're going to say, this is the game I waited 10 years for.
Does anybody here believe there is a valid reason why they took 10 years?
No.
They realized they were out of their league, couldn't compete. That's why it's 10 years.
Okay, we all agree on that point. But when they actually put out the final game, does it matter how long they took them to put together?
If it's
it took 10
good,
days,
I mean, if it's brilliant, if it's a brilliant game when it comes out,
it won't be brilliant. It'll be. I'm just hopeful it won't be Daikatana.
Well, I mean, 10 years for a Daikatana is sad. 10 years for like a 6.5 is also sad. At this point, they either have to hit a home run or just it's going to be a laughingstock no matter what.
All right, so who's been looking for Wiis? Because we have this wonderful. Well, at first it sounded good, but then we heard the details on it.
Why give your kid a Wii for Christmas when you can give him an empty box?
Well, no, you can give him a Wii. You can give him a Wii certificate.
And Mario will call your house. Seriously.
So here's the.
It's me. Who's on the phone? It's me.
That was pretty awesome.
I hope they paid Charles Martinet a lot.
All right, so here's the deal. GameStop and Nintendo partnered to do the Wii certificate program. So today, Friday, December 21st, while supplies last, which is the bullshit of it all, which means the lines will be back. It doesn't make a hill of beans difference if they did this.
You get to wait in line to not have a Wii.
Right.
Yeah.
You can wait in line to not have a Wii.
Yeah.
To me, the only thing that was interesting out of this was Reggie's comments. Did you like
Well,
Reggie?
you didn't actually explain what happened. So you spend $250, you don't get a Wii now, but you get a certificate, and you will have a Wii at the end of January, and Mario will call your house.
Right.
Yeah.
It's freaking-tastic.
But at least it is a guarantee that you will eventually have a Wii.
And you probably didn't have to buy some crazy bundle.
And you can put that little empty box under your Christmas tree.
How thrilling would that be? Oh, let's hook it up to the television, mommy. Yeah, I don't think so. Anyway, this is great though. Reggie, this shows how powerful Nintendo has gotten. Retailers have already been given feedback that we are not big fans of forced bundles. We think it masks some of the price advantage we have versus our competition, and frankly, the consumer should decide what they want. He goes on to say that we don't have to remind retailers of the strength we have right now. We're simply making an observation, and that reinforces our point quite nicely.
That sounds an awful lot like Sony circa 2005.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So it is the.
But does anyone disagree with this point?
No.
I don't agree with him more.
I didn't disagree with Sony in 2005
The
either.
fact that a year after the game came out, after the console came out, retailers are still forcing bundles is like pure evil. Pure evil. Any retailer who forces you to buy a bundle is pure evil and should be destroyed.
All right.
The fact this company seriously can't make enough. Seriously? Really? A year later?
It is way more popular than they expected, and to increase production, they actually have to make more factories.
So maybe we should get off our pile of money and put that into a factory?
But they're afraid if they spend all their money making new factories and the bubble bursts, then they've spent all this money.
If only there had been more unused Xboxes to pirate from.
I tell you what I feel. I feel the fact that there's so delays on this. I think Nintendo knows, or at least suspects that the legs on the Nintendo Wii it's not going to be as deep or as long as the PS3 or 360. And I feel like, what's the point in building new factories if you're going to have to build new factories to do Wii 2 inevitably in 2 years?
It's not about the legs. It's about the fact that, like everything else they do, they're going to bring out the refined, better version of the Wii in about 8 months.
Exactly, which might need its own factories.
Or just a retooling of the assembly lines they have. It's going to have HD output. It's going to be a little bit more elegant presentation. The whole 9 yards, right? That's the way it'll work.
You sound like you know about it.
I'm ready to buy that version, honestly.
Me too, sadly.
Moving right along, we're going to go into the serious part of the program real quickly, which starts with this silly story about. This comes from
the serious part starts with the silly story.
Well, the serious part starts with the unfortunate silliness of mainstream media being unable to interpret video games and their effect on society properly. Coming from Fox News, and for all of those in you in red states, we'll let you love your Fox News as much as you want. But this is a story of Colorado teens.
Oh God, not this story.
who were babysitting, and apparently killed their step sibling. Is this right?
So it's a couple, a 17-year-old boy and a
Lamar Roberts and Heather Trujillo.
15-year-old girl,
16.
16-year-old
She's
girl.
16. He's 17.
And it's her 7-year-old sister.
Half sister.
Right.
So they were babysitting them, and they basically beat her to death. And the prosecutors have filed in part of their filing against the two, said that the beating included imitating moves used in the video game Mortal Kombat.
This can and this conversation can get very insensitive. There's a dead girl here, but if before we make any fatality jokes or
there's no
anything.
jokes about it. It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's a horrible situation. I think it actually does a terrible disservice to the validity of the whole case to bring Mortal Kombat in, because it's ridiculous. Because a witness who's being subpoenaed for the case in their affidavit said, when asked why they didn't stop, Lamar Roberts replied, "I don't know. I was drunk."
Okay, here's my perspective.
What's the problem? Video games?
Here's my perspective on things. I have a background in law enforcement. I've worked in law enforcement.
You're also a prison guard.
Yes, I've taken
a badass.
I've taken police reports.
Were you on the riot team?
No, my brother was though. It's true. But I've helped with police reports, and I can tell you, whoever was writing the report, it was incredibly late at night. They wanted to have some kind of motive, some specific to go with it, and probably the person writing the police report doesn't know a lot about video games. Last video game he may have played may have been Mortal Kombat, based on his age, and he probably is the one that brought up Mortal Kombat, and the kid probably went, sure, whatever, and they wrote it into the report, and that's why this is becoming a story.
Yeah, it could have just as easily have been, I was mimicking the WWE
or UFC or any number of things,
or regardless, how about teens getting drunk, unsupervised, beating the hell out of a kid?
What I find even weirder from the
a sad story. It's a horrible story.
Is that the sister did most of it, which is crazy to me. Apparently, the dude was downstairs most of it. He did admit to kicking the girl at one point, but
seriously, what is wrong with Colorado? I mean, no offense to Coloradoans everywhere, but
something.
My little brother's gonna come kick your ass. He lives in the Springs.
Well, 10 years ago in Florida, a kid was beating up, I think, some relative or something, and he pile drived him on cement and killed him.
Which, by the way, he didn't have a good answer for me either about why you have to go to church with your piece, other than they have carry permits there. But apparently, you can go to church and carry your piece.
Honestly, it seems like a lot of this stuff comes out of Colorado.
But I do have to say,
seriously,
I'm not even sure who I'm defending here, but I did once dragon punch my sister, and I'm not kidding.
Really?
You posed dragon punching Brooks.
She didn't try to counter you.
I didn't really.
Or was it pre-alpha?
I didn't really mean to hurt her. It was pre-alpha, and I didn't really mean to hurt her.
Oh, that was awesome.
But I did.
You need to refill Jeff's drink for him, because he's definitely behind on us, and
you guys are going to kill me.
Pre-alphaing. All right, and while we're doing that, we're going to move on to the other sad official story, which is the continuing mess over. Are you going to believe it? Manhunt 2. Why are we still talking about Manhunt 2?
Well, because it was still banned in UK.
And the sad part is now Manhunt 2 has been drug into some political struggle between the Video Appeals Committee in Great Britain and the BBFC over who's going to be able to establish grading policies for games there. So, GameIndustry.biz reported that the BBFC has applied for a judicial review of the appeal that went to the Video Appeals Committee, where the Video Appeals Committee was told to tell the British Film Committee to. Anyway, it's a mess.
All this from Manhunt 2, it's not even that good.
It's not, and that is kind of the sad part, but because it became the titular head for this whole mess. And what does it say about where we are with okay, let me put it in this framework. Jeff, you guys talk about all sorts of media. Would film or television ever come under this kind of scrutiny?
20 years ago, or 50 years ago, for some, it's like it's just the next thing. It really is.
It's just another.
Why
example.
are we struggling to get out of it?
Because you have a reactionary and uninformed press and political structure that looks at these games, doesn't know anything about them, and they come up to these ridiculous assumptions based on what's a mediocre to piss poor game.
Yeah, as Mark McDonald always says when you bring this up, it will take this generation of lawmakers dying out and being replaced by people who grew up with games.
I agree with that,
Yeah.
and it's. I don't know if you guys have. You brought up other media. I don't know if you guys have seen No Country for Old Men.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah.
I think the thesis statement of that movie is you get to a certain age and there's no country for you.
Yeah, and you're not a cowboy anymore.
You look around the country and you're like, what's going on? I have to seize on something.
Yeah.
Why not this? Because it's foreign to me. And I mean, that's every generation goes through it. Every.
Yep.
No, absolutely.
I think you just successfully completely tabled that one. Moving into more interesting stuff. Epic has given UT3 players on PS3 an early Christmas gift, which we were able to provide just last night, which is the first user-created content for the PS3. So here's the deal. When UT3 came out for PS3, there is the ability to use user-created content inside the game. What there wasn't was a way to actually create that content if you weren't the actual developer, because the tools were held up by Sony because they have to approve some basic communication tools where you have to compile the files when you're done with them, and when you're actually cooking that final package, there's some proprietary stuff in there. I guess maybe some DLLs or something. Whatever there is, Sony has to sign off on it. Bottom line is that Epic has stepped into the middle of it now and said, you know what? We have the tools to make it work. We're going to start converting some of the best stuff and making it available for PS3. They started that yesterday. They're going to add some more stuff today. The first one is a deathmatch map called DM Shrine that you can get for your PS3. You download it, you stick it on a memory card, you incorporate it into the game. So how big of it? You said, actually, Shane, that next year is going to be user created.
Yes.
Is UT3 going to lead the charge?
Well, I mean, it's the first game to allow this kind of really wide customization, but you have to have a PC to do it.
Is it free?
All right. How would you create content otherwise?
Little Big Planet, Smash Brothers. I mean, games have their own, like Forge. Games have their own stuff built into it, and I don't think UT3 is the future because it is too hardcore. It's a very robust tool for people who can do it, but the average consumer will not be creating any content. They can play created content, and that's cool. But I think creating the content and sharing the content.
I don't think any user created stuff is the average user.
Exactly.
I don't think even. I mean,
Animal Crossing,
really?
I don't know.
What user created? What?
Yeah, hold on a second. What user created?
We'll see. I mean, I fully expect the Wii Animal Crossing to have user created content.
In what sort of form would you expect to see that?
Like My Sims, you can build your own bookshelves and shit. Like, of course, Animal Crossing is going to have things you create, things you design, things you. Yeah, but I'd be shocked if it doesn't.
The average gamer is not the person that actually takes the time to design these things to the point where other people would actually want to interact with and play.
I think you'd be surprised what people will design in Animal Crossing.
But you can make
everyone designs their own house. I mean, it's all about
no, everyone doesn't design.
Yeah, you pick your furnishings, you put them where you want, you move them. You are editing, you are creating in that game.
Well, my most anticipated game of 2008 is Little Big Planet.
I love it.
And the reason I'm excited for it is not because I'm going to be creating levels for other people to play.
You want to see what other people are creating?
I want to see what other people that have skill are creating. And I want to dick around and make stuff that nobody else would ever want to play, but it was fun for me to just mess around,
But yeah, I think Unreal, it's a weird one.
Well, I think what's really big about this is that it's cool that Epic knows that the core to making Unreal Tournament successful long run is keeping the community going. And this is something they've done in all their other games. And this is the first time a console community is going to be really exposed to what Epic does.
Well, I think Epic might be moving their focus to the PS3 version after the dismal sales of the PC
and that's
version.
the thing. You have to have the PC version to be able to create content for this.
Don't give up on the PC version yet. Unreal Tournament is not a game that necessarily sells out on day one. It's a game that continues to sell because they support it long term. They will be doing, if prior history is any indication, they'll do at least 2 significant content packs. I mean, Cliffy B really picked up his name by doing these fantastic map packs and content packs and wowing people with that stuff, right? I mean, that's where these guys come from.
Don't you think it was a huge mistake for them to put this out before the end of the year?
On PC or on PS3?
And either, both. I think they had set up a situation where no one expected this game to come out before the end of the year.
Everyone expected it to come out on PC before the end of the year.
Well, they kept saying when it's done, we're not going to make any guarantees. And then there was these rumors of like maybe it'll be out in December.
So why didn't it sell on PC?
I think there's too much crap to play, honestly.
On PC?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think PC gamers...
What are people buying on PC? It's not Crysis.
Orange Box. Look, if you're coming down to a multiplayer arena game right now, all you have to do is kick on Steam and look at the fact that there are literally over 2,000 servers every night playing Team Fortress. Just Team Fortress.
Team Fortress 2?
Yeah, Team Fortress 2.
So you think Team Fortress 2 is the reason Unreal 3 did not sell well on PC?
I think it's a significant contributor to it. But I think the other thing is the Unreal factor, which is that Unreal Tournament has followed this scenario, the sequence of, well, first we do the new game engine, and then we come back and refine it in the right game. This is like UT 2003, UT 2004, and I think that we'll have UT 3 and we'll have UT 3B or whatever it'll be.
So people kind of wait it out a little bit.
Yeah, because look, the big new mode, and I said this in my PS3 review, the big new mode is Warfare. Well, Warfare is really just a hybrid of other modes they've done before. And this game is at its best as a deathmatch game. It's kind of caught in this deal where deathmatch is really fun. You have the flat cannon, you have a rocket launcher, you have great maps for that. And then you get outside and you have these big maps where the flat cannon is really only situationally effective. The rocket launcher the same way.
The vehicles aren't
it becomes a big. No, the vehicles are great. It becomes a vehicle-heavy game. And Warfare gives you this weird game where you got orb runners going. It's just. They will refine what you do in the game engine in the next iteration.
Well,
but before then,
the game industry.
Hold on 1 second.
It's all about
before then, modders will elevate the game and direct where the next Unreal goes by what they do with this game and this engine.
I really don't think we're going to be able to intelligently talk about the mod community, and especially as it regards to Unreal 3, until there's a full conversion mod, because full conversion mods change everything.
It's true.
You look at Counter-Strike, you look at any number of things. That will change everything. The ability to download a full conversion mod where you have a completely different game, all you have to do is pop in your PS3 version of Unreal 3.
That's a great point.
That's enticing.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
What was the UT total conversion that was basically Counter-Strike? I used to play the hell out of it. It was really good. Someone will know the name of it. It was really good.
I don't think that PC gamers feel the need to buy a
level.
new game every year or every season.
That's a
Not
problem.
at all.
That's a problem.
For the industry, for the PC market, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, this world you envision where it's cool for everyone to wait 6 months, maybe they'll buy it later. Well, that doesn't work for when retailers have to put in orders for this game, and they make a certain number, and if you don't sell them, you have to offer them buyback credit because you have like 100 copies of Unreal Tournament sitting on your shelf. And
That's very true.
At your EB.
And it makes a mess, right?
Yeah.
It makes a total mess. But as far as the game getting purchased, I think that people will continue to come along and buy it, especially as they hear about people. Like, who knows what the first content pack's going to bring? First content pack for UTs, always amazing, always jam-packed with content, and I'm quite confident that the same will hold true.
What's weird is, it's quite possible for the PS3 version to outsell the PC version, 2007. By the end of this year,
I'd say it's likely at this point.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy.
Well, I think this is a better game for PS3 players right now because it offers things that are not superseded by other games in the arena like they are on PC.
Oh.
PC gamers have all kinds of weird stuff going on. For instance, EA released today a patch to SimCity Societies that basically almost owns up to some of the problems with the original release. So for those who aren't familiar, quick recap, SimCity Societies is not SimCity 5. It's like a new direction for the series. It was not received well by the hardcore SimCity crowd, and it wasn't really received well by the casual crowd. So it hit this weird middle ground. So they're releasing this new patch that basically is attempting it seems like, from listening to Rod Humble of EA, it seems like they're trying to appease the hardcore SimCity crowd with some hardcore features until they can make another SimCity.
So they're like retroactively trying to make it more like SimCity.
It definitely seems that way.
In an admission of defeat.
It definitely seems that way because SimCity Societies was all about these motivation energies and things like that, and now they're allowing you to go in and stack business development areas on top of each other, which makes it very much like zoning. They're adding in 3 levels that allow you to do like a basic hardcore nightmare that take a more strategic approach to developing the game, which brings into question a much bigger thing of when a game comes out in PC land, apparently we still aren't to a point where it has to be final. How much damage?
Well,
Jeff,
that's not new.
Why are you scoffing?
Like what Shane said, it's not
Yeah.
new.
Hi, how many? Like you used to work at EB. How many PC games came out that didn't work out of the box? A lot.
Hellgate London.
Oh, well, and Hellgate London still doesn't work right? I mean, there's supposed to be a new patch out this week that's apparently going to finally get things
but like
in order.
as I brought up, like the disappointing sales of Crysis, Unreal, and Hellgate, it all kind of spells doom and gloom for PC gaming.
I don't know what it spells doom and gloom. What it actually spells is more of a case of more of the same.
Somebody should slip a note under Blizzard's door and tell them that PC gaming is dead because
not for them.
Seem to be
Not for them.
noticing
It's not. But
Right.
I'm sure for most of their competitors, it is a little bit.
Alex on my show, he wanted to give Game of the Year to a patch for World of Warcraft.
Wow.
Wait,
I mean, that's,
Alex is a WoW guy?
Yeah,
Well,
hardcore.
I mean, that probably is Game of the Year for 9 million people.
Exactly.
Weirdly enough.
and when 9 million people are paying money every
Alex.
month anyway, what are they going to rush out and buy UT3? I don't think I don't know.
Probably not.
Probably not.
I'm William Shatner. I'm a druid.
Those ads are awesome.
How gross is the little mini-me one? He's not even he's like a Z-list celebrity. Like, he makes me not want to play the game.
I mean,
Yeah.
did
He
they
looks
even
the
invite him
most
to the
authentic,
VGAs?
Hopefully
You
not.
didn't even rank that.
All right, in the economy side of the game stories and news, we have a note from the financialtimes.com, which is a UK financial website, very excellent site. They're also related to New York Times, I believe. They have pointed out that the fantastic sales of Assassin's Creed have potentially saved Ubisoft from the specter of being bought by EA because the value of the company has shot up dramatically as a result
crazy.
of it.
It's crazy.
It's not shocking. I mean, EA's been courting Ubisoft for 3 or 4 years now. They own a significant stake in Ubisoft already. So it's not unusual that they'd want to buy it. I mean,
So how much impact will this have on the business models of other publishers that might be targets? Because it's very interesting the point that it raises, which is that being creative, not relying on your franchises, but actually stepping out and creating something new is what ultimately saves your bacon.
Well,
Actually,
I'd like to think that's the lesson learned. I doubt that will be the lesson learned. I
market
think,
more effectively.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's become. I've always thought that the games industry, one of the great things about it is that the things that were the most successful tend to be the things that were the best quality thing. Okay, and now we're seeing that shift into a more movie type industry where as long as you can get that opening week to kick ass, it doesn't matter what your reviews are.
Transformers,
Exactly.
Daughtry's album being number 1, you know.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Assassin's Creed was a magical convergence of very fortuitous events.
Yeah, it's got
Magical
great
conversions.
imagery. It's got great imagery. It made a splash in at all the right moments.
It was marketed well. It was
Yeah.
it was pitched very effectively.
Okay, so another subject that just kind of reinforces that it is actually all about the Benjamins, coming from the Boston Globe at boston.com, is an article where they were discussing the standoff on guitars and the two different games, which we've gone this road quite a bit. And I have to say that as much as I was holding out a grain of hope, the posturing that has gone on in the last week over this subject is
ridiculous.
It's absurd.
Like the finger pointing and
Paris and Nikki need to shut the F up. And
Well, this actually puts a stake in it. Like, this is not really Paris and Nikki because, honestly, as much as I thought it was a two-way street, Harmonix comes out of this looking pretty good, and Activision looks pretty bad in that Activision spokeswoman Mary Ann Latif said that her company was willing to work with Harmonix, but she went on to say this, quote, "We believe we should be compensated for the use of our technology." In other words, pretty simple. They want to get paid for making their guitars compatible. How can that be supportive of your users?
This whole thing is just really sad to me.
You know what?
That's the thinking of the user last.
It's two different companies who ripped off something that someone else already invented, Konami, and they're fighting over who gets to have all the money from it.
Honestly, I think parties that I hold is partially responsible is Microsoft and Sony, and to a lesser extent Nintendo. Well, I guess not at all Nintendo because Rock Band's not on the Wii, but I think it's Microsoft and Sony's duty to make the guitars work for every game that's on your system, because it's hurting the system as a whole because people can't buy the games to play on the system.
Well, then there you get into that whole incestuous relationship between the platform holder and the publishers, and them not wanting to offend anybody.
And Sony came out and said, we're not getting involved.
I was going to say, the relationship between Activision and specifically Sony is probably sort of strained because of the comment of the $199 system price point.
We have that coming up in a minute. And as these publishing companies continue to consolidate and get bigger and bigger, they're very able to stand toe to toe.
They get bigger and bigger, and their britches stay the same size.
Well, the thing that's so stupid about the whole thing is that there's enough money here for everybody to have fun, and if you make your customers happy and everybody gets to play nice, people are going to buy the software. Everybody can win.
Here's the thing I genuinely don't understand. Why is it bad for Activision to allow somebody else to use a product that in the first place you have to buy from Activision? So what they're saying is, making our product more useful to other people, where more people would buy it, we want someone else to pay us for as well?
Yes. It's ridiculous. And the stupid thing, too, is that the uneducated end user who tries to plug in a guitar that he knows works with one game and it doesn't work with another game is going to be mad at that game.
Yeah.
Not at the guy who made the guitar,
We had fun all year this year, poking fun at the Sony executives and their various comments. Fortune decided to pile on as well. They had their little article at the end of the year called the 101 Dumbest Moments in Business. 2 Sony events ranked in. The first one being a God of War 2 promo event, which featured a dead goat.
Yeah, remember this? That was pretty crazy. And Europe's a different place.
Very different place. That was very interesting. And then the other one, of course, and I have to kind of actually defend them.
I think the GOAT one is a good choice.
The GOAT one is a good choice.
But the Resistance Church thing is lame.
It's completely lame. Like allowing the Anglican Church to get upset about the featuring of a landmark in a game that was in that geography. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, how they were supposed to know they were going to get upset.
Yeah, definitely not religious. So, and then on the subject, this is the Sony News Hour now, on the subject that David was talking about regarding Activision talking about pricing of the Sony consoles. That was at a Reuters Media Summit a few weeks back. They said that both Microsoft and Sony needed to get their price point down to $199. Well, Mr. Trenton, who we've become familiar with over at Sony, in talking with Dean Takahashi over at the Mercury News, was pretty defensive on this subject. I have to say that, at first he was civil about it, but then he got down, kind of almost catty about it. He said, well, I think from an unrealistic standpoint, I'm never surprised that by software manufacturers, this is so incoherent. I'm never surprised by that because a software manufacturer may not be concerned whether a hardware manufacturer is successful or not, whether they're profitable.
Well, he goes on to say, I don't tell my third parties what prices to make their games.
That's true. And then he says, I don't know, maybe he should design a platform. Oh, okay. Grow up. Seriously.
I think Activision needs to grow up.
Yeah.
Really?
I say it's
really?
nice.
I think Activision is
it's nice to want things. I'd be like, hey,
it is nice to want things.
Mercedes, your car should be $50. All right. Okay.
You know what though? To go back.
We're not talking about cars. Cars don't play media.
I have a CD player in my car.
But you didn't buy it as a CD player.
I'm kidding. I didn't buy my PS3 as a Blu-ray player either. Anyway,
sure you didn't. That's what you use it for.
Yeah. To go back to the question from the previous segment, which was, what did we learn about 2007? I think one of the things that is pretty darn clear is that price point is really important.
It is really important.
I think this generation, I don't know. I would argue against that. I would say in this generation, price point has become more malleable and random as ever. When people are willing to spend $129 for a game, when people spend $179 for a game, $90 for limited editions everywhere, tins with stupid shit in them, people, I don't know what people are willing to pay for.
That's a hardcore audience.
You can't.
You're talking about a
hardcore audience. Are the audience we're talking about that fuels the 360 success?
Well, I don't believe if all the consoles were the same, if all the consoles were $199 every single one, there's no way I believe the Wii is winning.
Oh well, that's true. But like,
I don't think there's. I think PS3 would be killing everybody.
Exactly.
It would be done. It would be done.
So how does that not prove that price point is?
Well, but Sony would be losing hundreds and hundreds of dollars on every unit. You know, like
no. I'm saying you strip that away. I'm saying if from a purely sales perspective.
Well, yeah. I mean, from Activision's perspective, if every console was cheaper, would they be selling more games? Duh. Okay, anybody can say that about anything. It's just like that's such an obvious and foolish, with no basis in reality, no basis in the considerations for both Microsoft and Sony in making these units.
What the fuck do you mean, no basis in reality? Look at the sales chart for PS2. Look at how the evolution of that platform matured.
Like before Activision existed, when Odyssey and Intellivision 2600, those systems weren't $199. Like systems can't magically be $199 out of the gate.
What he's saying is this market that we're all in, console manufacturers and me,
right.
He's saying, is a market that is completely determined by barrier of entry,
right?
And
which is an economic factor. It's solely an economic factor.
Exactly. And he's not he's saying that when you design these consoles, you got to be pretty darn sure that you can get them to this price point because that is the point at which people will buy them. Done.
Right. Well, Trenton isn't saying that he can never get to that point.
No. And I'll tell you, this is where Activision's coming from. Activision is a company that likes to put games on multiple consoles.
Yes.
Right now, they're having to spend the exact same amount of money to put games on PS3 as 360, and they have absolutely no chance of selling the same amount of games on PS3 as 360. They would like the prices to be identical on 360 and PS3 because they feel that PS3 would catch up, and that would allow them to sell an equal number of games and therefore make an equal number of profit on both systems. That's where they're coming from. That's why they want this.
This right here is the crux of the dilemma that faces Microsoft in 2008. And I would say that of the three console holders, well, the three platform holders right now, Microsoft is in the gravest jeopardy in 2008 of blowing it all because they haven't decided which side of the fence they want to land on. They continue to hold out the hope on the one side with this arcade unit that they can come down to a Wii price level and present a more attractive platform. At the same time, trying to sell an elite unit that can't compete because, I mean, obviously, we can't make a PS3 that is a Wii or an arcade kind of unit because that's not something Sony has been willing to sacrifice. You follow what I'm saying here? They're caught in this weird middle ground.
I don't see how that turns into a bad for them, though. I mean, I don't see how
because they can't win either platform.
They can't win either side. That middle pretty darn well.
I think
that middle ground is no man's land. You get bombed to shit.
I think Xbox 360 is poised because they can make a big price cut because they haven't. They didn't. They can still.
Okay.
But, dude, the PS2 was that. The PS2 was stuck in the middle, right in the middle.
The PS2 matured, and as it matured and the price changed, the group of people buying the box changed.
Yeah, I agree with that. But what I'm saying is that when you're sitting in the middle and you're not pushing the boundary either way.
Okay.
You're right in the sweet spot for where developers are like, the safe bet is for me to design for that. Because I can go down for that guy and go up for this guy, and no one's going to really know the difference.
I don't know.
So what would they have to leverage in order to make that work?
We mean Microsoft?
Yes.
I think it's working.
No, like Microsoft can drop the price of premium or elite the day that Grand Theft Auto 4 comes out by $50, $100, whatever they want to do. They can do that, and Sony can't do that.
That's a really good point.
Yeah,
that's absolutely because if
they will.
If you're a kid who's been holding out or an adult who's been holding out on getting a next gen system until GTA 4, this is the game you want to buy, and you go in and you see two identical copies, one for PS3 and one for 360, and you can get it on 360, and the system costs $150 less. That's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
What system you're going to get?
Yeah, but speaking not as an industry analyst or anything like that, speaking as a purely selfish gamer, the thing that worries me and that I think is going to happen that sucks is that the next generation of consoles, no one is going to be shooting for the stars. No one is going to be what Sony did, which is let's make the most kick-ass system you can possibly. I think everyone's going to go.
You think Sony decided the PS3 was going to be the most kick-ass system ever, so that's why they reached over and pulled an off-the-shelf NVIDIA basic core graphics unit
and 256 megabytes of RAM?
What they started thinking the audience wanted was a Corvette.
No, I think
the audience went, you know what? We'll take a Volvo.
I think that's what Ken Kutaragi was thinking. I think everyone else at Sony was thinking something entirely different.
Well, there's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah.
Yes. But what I'm saying is, I think when people are like, you got to have this thing hit $200, they're going to go, okay, well, let's make a system that we can sell for $200 and still make a profit, like Nintendo's doing.
I would be concerned if say like both Microsoft and Nintendo look to the Wii. I mean, Microsoft and Sony look to the Wii's success as a template for their next consoles. That would concern me greatly.
I think that I still think that there's a treacherous set of waters ahead in 08 for Microsoft, depending on who wins the argument inside their core group of, are we going to go down the road of making an inexpensive box with no hard drive, or are we going to continue to push forward and say we're high-end cutting edge?
The bigger problem facing Microsoft in 2008 is the crumbling first party.
All right, one place that they are ahead is online. Their online service Live continues to be, I still think that as far as infrastructure goes, the Live system, despite the fact that it does have some barriers to entry for developers, is a very good system for the end user. And we still know what's happening really with Sony's product, which is Home, but we do know that it has been delayed until sometime in 08 because the beta won't even start there. In that conversation with the Mercury News, the discussion of that from Jack Tretton, he said that we're looking to do a beta in the first quarter of calendar 08, and that it's not 100% sure on when the full-blown release will be in terms of an actual date.
It's a bummer.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm wondering if Sony's playing coy with the term beta. I feel that the beta they're going to release, this public beta, is going to be 90-95% of what you're going to get in the final product, and hopefully the performance will be there, because we already are hearing rumors from publishers. I mean, the Uncharted guys have already talked. Their Home is going to be, the whole trophy system, achievement system will be supported, and we've heard rumors that the same thing will happen with Burnout.
Okay.
But it's weird because I always felt that they should have probably released like a feature-stripped beta just to have it out there. Like, I know they want to have something that's very feature-complete and impressive, but it's a balance.
Yeah, they would have gotten torn up.
I don't know, but just like the ability to have your room and like have your media. Like right now, the beta that the people are on like has some of the features, not everything, but has like some of those features you want.
Go ahead.
It all comes down to a party system.
Why is the beta not full?
What do you mean?
Why is the current beta, from what I hear, not having a lot of people participating in it, not having a lot of people on there every day?
From what I understand,
there's still not a whole lot to do.
Exactly, and that goes to the point that I was saying, is that they put out something that's feature stripped, and it's like, well, what is this? Why do I care? And it's like, and then they say, oh, well, there's a lot more stuff, and then then people respond, well, why isn't that stuff here?
There has to be a certain amount of content, and I guess they're waiting for that all to be working.
Yeah, will it ever happen? Because guess what?
It's going to happen. They're not going to cancel Home.
No, but will it ever actually make critical mass and work? Because I think that part of the big model of this is something like Second Life, and Second Life is falling apart right now.
Well, Second Life's a joke.
Second Life's not actually
Home might be a joke.
No, but yeah, it very well may be in the console. But I think Second Life is a game that gets most of its publicity because of reporters that think Second Life is bigger than it actually is.
Because of corporations pumping money into it for no reason. I mean, other than do like CSI NY on Second Life.
Yeah, and to be fair, Sony would kill to have that same kind of exposure based on Home because of corporate influx of money.
Right. Okay,
I'm legitimately excited about Home.
I am too.
I am too.
Yeah,
and I think the people who like naysay it, like they haven't really thought about why it's fun and why it's interesting.
Well, here's the main difference I see between a PS3 and a 360. A 360 at its core fundamentally has become a social experience. From the time you turn it on, one of the first things you do, at least I do, is see which of my friends are online and what are they playing and can I play with them.
And it's totally by design.
Yes, and the PS3
forethinking.
The PS3, despite how many friends you may have online, the first thing you're seeing is you're putting in whatever game you're going to play, and only after the fact, if it's a multiplayer game, you may decide to play with someone.
So what I've heard recently over the past few weeks is that although Home thrills us from a gee whiz, isn't that cool standpoint, when you stop, now that you've had time to think about it and look at the situation, you say to yourself, you know what, really for my game, wouldn't I rather really have something along the lines of like Live accessible from the XMB level than all this Home stuff? Because you know what, all this Home stuff is going to mean a whole lot of extra work for me to incorporate compatibility with it. And
but like you're acting as if Home is what you use to play games online, and that is not what it is. That isn't what it is at all. At all. It isn't. That is not what it is.
Really, because I thought the idea was that we could all get together at my apartment and then we could go into games.
Right, or we could go into a game without ever going into Home.
That part is not what they've been emphasizing, apparently, because that was exactly the complaint I was hearing was we would just want something like this from the XMB level that, by the way, you know what? Actually, Live does kind of get it right.
Well, I hope that Shane's right in the sense that it's both. It's either.
It is both. I mean, like, home is like a place to go and meet people and do things and play games and look at movies and see things, interact, collect, show people your things. It's not a place to go play games.
Show people my things.
It's not going to be both until they can get over the whole shared memory hurdle of being able to have XMB be in game. Until you have this program running fundamentally in the background all the time, so that you can access those social features, it will not be that.
Well, and they recently said they're aware that is like the number one requested item, and they know.
Do you want to play a multiplayer game, or do you want to get together in this virtual world?
I want to do both. I want to do both.
Really?
Really?
Because not a lot of people apparently want to get into Second Life.
Who are these people? I mean, like, you're saying Second Life is home. Like, Second Life isn't home.
Dude, they're cut from the same cloth.
Doppelganger.
They're cut from the same cloth. I mean, that's the idea, right?
Well, and there's a lot of things you can do on your computer. There aren't a lot of things you can do on your console. And home is not. There's never been something like that on a console. Like the closest thing is an MMO, like a Phantasy Star Online.
Dude, you don't need to do something bad on a different platform just to realize that it's bad.
You're implying that it's badly done, and it's not.
I'm just saying that.
The point is, none of us know if it's poorly done.
I mean,
none of us know.
I've played home.
None of us know, but
I've had the chance to play home. I've played home.
Was it compelling?
I think it will be. I think.
What about it's going to be compelling?
I think the fact that you can go on there and play games with people in this place, and I've done that. Like,
I thought you just said it wasn't about playing games with people.
But that is compelling. Okay, that is compelling.
But if I'm doing that, isn't it smoother for me just to be able to do that from the XMB and have that ability to jump in and say, here's where my friends are, let's go play this game?
I'm sorry, you misunderstand me. I don't mean us playing Burnout. I mean, like, when you're walking around home and you're walking towards people playing bowling, you hear, as you're walking for them, you hear them talking, you hear them bowling, and like, you can join their bowling game. It's not a game.
How is that better than me logging into Live and seeing someone playing an arcade bowling game and say, I'm going to go play arcade? Yeah, because it takes longer.
Different. I agree with you, Garnet, in a one sense, but I also if your goal is to sit down and play an online game, I want to be able to do that. I don't want to have to deal with BS of trotting through the garden in order to do that.
Right.
I'm hoping that I will be able to do that. I hope if I want to play Burnout with my friend, if I want to, whatever.
You can.
Okay. But there is also something, and honestly, I don't know why it's so interesting to me, but there's something very cool about being able to boot up a console and be in a place and not know exactly what I am going to do now.
Well, and like the thing is, I tell people, like, right now the four of us could be in my apartment with my friend from Tokyo, my friend from London, watching whatever movies are on my hard drive, listening to my music, whatever's on my PS3, and hanging out and having fun.
And you know what? A decade ago,
you can't do that on Xbox Live.
A decade ago, it was really cool to go to Dave & Buster's and put on a helmet and play 3D virtual reality games.
Yeah, Garn, that's a really excellent troll of what I just said. You're so
I'm just starting
so insightful.
I think there's something.
You know what? Actually, fuck you, because that is bullshit. Just to try and dismiss me as a troll. It's a similar sort of thing. Home is a very gee-whizzy sort of tech.
Well, like,
and they're trying to impress you with that.
I feel like a broken record because I've said people who are really into Xbox Live who are used to that. They're used to that, and that's how they see interacting with their friends in a community. And people who haven't played Xbox Live, who are the majority of PlayStation 2 owners, they don't have any set standard for what an online experience is. And for them, being in someone's apartment, hanging out with people, watching movies, launching a game, that could be a lot more compelling.
I'm happy to go play a game, number one. And number two, I think that Burnout is a great example of why home is no longer necessary, because Burnout eliminates any need for either any of that, because I can jump in and out of games.
Here's the thing. Like, sometimes when I log on to World of Warcraft, I log on and I don't know what I'm going to be doing. Okay. I log on, I see who else is on. Hey, who wants to do stuff? That if I sit down and I go, I want to play Burnout with my friends, I do want the Xbox Live experience. I want that A to B, point-to-point experience. If I, however, don't know what I want to do, I kind of want to turn on my system and find out what other people are up to.
Okay.
Maybe that is a compelling, interesting kind of experience.
Maybe home could exist as its own virtual world for PlayStation 3 owners to exist in.
That's what it is.
It doesn't need to have the other angle of it, which is that it's going to be the gateway and the pathway for you to take your game
from
online.
The outset, they have said you will be able to launch games from the XMB. You will be able to look at your trophies from the XMB. You don't have to go to home to do those things. And you saying those things...
Then why haven't they done those things yet?
You saying these things on a podcast...
Then why haven't they done those things yet?
What do you mean?
Why can I not look at my trophies from Uncharted?
Because home hasn't started yet, dude. And that is part of home.
So it is alarming that we don't have...
Hold on. Either it's part of home or it's not part of home.
I think I sort of understand where Shane's coming from on this. He sees home as a program that has two layers. Top layer is this social interaction.
It is two-layered.
And the other layer is this network community backbone.
The third layer is porn sharing.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Absolutely. But
XVID for the win.
Oh, not on PS3 apparently. But I think what he's saying is that if the network backbone is separate and you will not need home for it, then I'm all for both of them. I think it's great if it happens like that. Just because that's what they've promised doesn't mean what they're going to deliver. And I'm hopeful. People are shocked all the time when I tell them that I'm actually looking forward to home. I actually want to mess around with it. I think it's cool. But
I don't disagree with you that it would be fun to mess around with it. I don't disagree that it would be fun to go play around with it. I think that it would be great for Sony to have already delivered on Layer 1.
Yeah.
Because that's the critical...
I definitely agree with that.
That's the critical piece.
I couldn't be angrier that there's no in-game cross-media bar or custom sound.
Okay, that's all I'm saying.
That's
all I'm saying.
I think that's alarming.
How big of a dagger would they have jabbed into Microsoft if they had already delivered on that?
I feel like Sony is taking the South Park GNOME path where they're skipping steps 1 and 2 and going straight to profit with home. And they haven't done their first couple of steps yet.
Nice metaphor, sir.
Well, you look at the original Xbox Live. There wasn't much there. We're spoiled with Xbox 360 and its live component, and I feel like PS3, possibly Sony may be overreaching on home.
So do you think they're feeling the stress of having to compete with this already evolved competitor?
No, absolutely. But I feel like they need to learn how to draw A and B before they write C.
Gran Turismo Prologue backs you up on that too.
That's true.
But isn't that true? I mean, it's the same thing right there.
I think if there was no Xbox 360, PS3 wouldn't have launched without home. I think the PS3 wouldn't be here yet, and it would launch, and home would be the new thing.
Oh, yeah, because they wouldn't have had to release the system already.
Well, and by the way, it wouldn't have an NVIDIA graphics chip in it either.
Right.
It would be a whole other beast, and that's some
discuss.
futurist stuff right there, right?
Yeah.
But that's what we do on this show. So, Jeff?
Yes,
I'm going to give the close to you, my man. It's all you.
I've been sitting here naked the whole time. I need clothes.
Oh.
Well, let me just say, I feel like this experience has been my own personal little Christmas present.
Wow.
I appreciate it. I have had a blast with you guys. I hope you'll invite me back sometime because this is honestly, I'm going to insert my head all the way up the ass and say, best audio-only podcast on the net. My favorite. You guys are awesome, and I feel privileged to have been here. Yeah, it's a blast. And also, check out the Totally Rad show.
You should actually.
No, absolutely.
You don't have to dude. You should absolutely. You know what? You should be watching right now. You should be watching Totally Rad show. You should be watching. I mean, in addition to the One Up show, you should be watching Dig Nation. Absolutely.
Dick Nation.
Dig Nation.
I was like, what kind of show are you on?
You were suddenly interested.
That is also a very interesting podcast in its own right.
I mean, I will own up to the fact that Patrick Norton and I are buddies and all, but Techzilla is coming along. I mean, it's kind of finding its way with the daily thing versus.
Weren't you on that or something?
Yeah,
a couple times, yeah. But I mean, Techzilla is cool. It's gonna get there.
Absolutely. So I appreciate it, and if you guys could check out Totally Rad Show, I'd love it. And send me an email. Let me know.
Where would they do that?
fans@totallyradshow.com.
All the Mass Effect fans gonna send out.
Yes.
You can bomb him, and if you want to get with us, that would of course be boards.oneup.com. Next week, Shane will be in Kentucky.
Sadly.
But you're gonna bring us back enough Kentucky fine grains to satisfy
as much bourbon as I can carry.
And then we'll do an 08. We'll start off in the beginning of 08 with our 08 projections. I'm not going to let you get off the hook. I'm going to bring back the 07 projections.
Oh. Nice.
At least
that's
one more
that's
time.
always fun.
Those are always fun. David, what'd you think?
I had a blast.
You owned.
You're
awesome.
It's
you're very in the zone.
A stunning debut.
I have to say, you're very in the zone.
Big fun.
Next week, post-Christmas show will be me, and so far I think it's gonna be Fragile Eagle.
Fragile Eagle.
I think Fragile Eagle is gonna do it, and Sam Kennedy, and then we're kind of we're up in the air on the 4th. Who knows? Maybe Big Fun be back.
David, Big Fun will be in North Carolina. Unfortunately, for the entire week.
Big Fun will not be back.
There'll be some homeless people you can recruit.
I do know that Nick Sutner is gonna be around.
Oh, he'll be feeding my cat. In fact.
Wow, that was way more information than anyone needed.
That's true.
On that note, until next week, you know what we say. We are Ghost.
The Ghost of Christmas Past. Oh.